10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Kenny Dreadful, and with me is the ever so enchanting Miss Stereo.
Yeah.
What's going on?
How
and
you
this
guys
is Stereo
doing?
Dread. What's going on? What you want me to do?
Chilling. Just turn off the monitor.
Okay.
Hey guys, how are you guys doing? Welcome to Stereo Dread, powered by Dezombified. We're so glad to see you guys here, as well as some new faces, so to speak. Hi, Swedish Mom.
I gotta do the roll call.
Do the roll call, baby.
So yeah, we got a roll call. We have Otherworldly Things with Mike P. How are you, Mike P? Thanks for stopping by, brother. Keep those pipes pristine, because you could definitely sing. King J is in the crib. What's going on, King J? Thanks for stopping by. We also have the Swedish Mom. Hey, girl. Let's see who else is up in this piece. So far, that's what we have, and we're happy. Stranger Stories, how's it going, brother? Everything is going cool over here with us. Hopefully, we get Puerto Rican to stop by later so he could tell his Santeria scary stories. So let's see how that goes.
So, hey. We are so glad that you guys stopped in today. Thank you for all of the support. You know, you guys are the lifeblood. The lifeblood of this channel, and we are very glad to have you. So, I am glad to see everybody's in good spirits tonight. We have a pretty chill show lined up for you tonight, as always, and we really hope that you enjoy.
Roll call. Dustin Fleming. Yo. What up, homies? Yeah, what's going on? Dustin, still getting pumped up today? Did you hit the gym? What's going on? Pumping up those biceps.
Stranger Story says love blood sounds good.
Nice. You are the love blood of this channel, so thank you.
Yeah, instead of lifeblood, we're gonna say love blood from now on, courtesy of Stranger Stories.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you guys are just too much.
So what's in store? I think we got a story lined up from Mythology Loves Horror.
Yes, we do. I'll be doing
so
a live
hopefully
story
when she stops by, I think we should be able to do the story when she
Mm-hmm.
pops up in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Once she pops up,
If
I'll
she's not
start reading
easy.
her story.
Hey, we love you too, Stranger Stories.
These
He's
guys.
awesome. Thank you.
You guys are just too much. We really love you guys.
I think we need to do another roll call. So where everybody's at, where you from? I mean, where you at? I think one of these people's like in Bali or something.
Oh, that's exotic.
Wasn't it Stranger Stories? He said he was going to be in Bali or something.
Yes. Oh my
Up
goodness.
in Indonesia, if I remember correctly.
Unless I'm bugging. But I think so. I think it was him. And that how's the weather over there? How's everything looking? You know?
All right, the Swedish Mom is in Sweden. Duh, doy.
Yes, well that part I should have guessed.
McFly, hello, McFly.
Oh, I don't know. I don't mean. Oh my God, my brain! I tell you, I forget everything.
I bet it
Seriously.
is paradise. Stranger Stories says that Bali is paradise. I bet. We love that you're having a great time, man. Hopefully you can share some photos with us in the future. We'd love to show the people some photos if you have any available. You can send it to us on Twitter. Yep. Nice. Yeah. So anyway, back to the stories at hand. So we're gonna have a little hopefully a caller or two. We're looking for people with any scary stories or experiences to give us a call on Skype or Google Hangouts. No need to show your face if you don't want to. You can remain anonymous. You know, and we even have some scary music and some B-roll for you to say your story to. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah. I'm just sending a message to Mythology Loves Horror.
Okay, good. Dustin Fleming says he's in Pennsylvania, close to Gettysburg. Oh, that's a lot of history over there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of history by Gettysburg.
Yeah. You know that they still do those war live action role play type of stuff there. They dramatize the war. They do a replay, a reenactment of everything that happened over there and other things in other parts of the country. They actually do reenactments, and it's actually a big deal over there. They do what you call, the reenactment of it, and it brings in a lot of tourists. I've always wanted to go to a war reenactment.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it does. I also, you know what? I have been to medieval times.
Why is there so much reverb today?
I don't know. Maybe a little lower, or maybe it's going into both of the mics at the same
I
time.
have no idea.
So maybe getting a little bit closer and speaking a little lower might help.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe. Then I have to talk really low.
Just
So,
a little, not
you know
that
what?
much.
Check this out. You know what today is, everybody? Do you know what today is?
I don't know, but the Swedish mom says she's specifically near Stockholm.
That sounds very intriguing.
And Dustin Fleming says the ghost tours are dope. Yes,
Nice.
that might be.
That's right up our alley. Hey, you know what? Today is a great day because today is Robert Englund's 72nd birthday.
What?
So if he has a Twitter, we should just go raid his Twitter and be like, "Happy birthday, Freddy!" Freddy
I
Krueger's
love-
birthday.
He's my favorite monster.
Can you believe he's 72 though?
Wow.
Wow, good for you.
I mean, that's awesome. He, like I said, he's my favorite monster, my favorite horror movie villain. You know, we love it.
Mm-hmm.
We love this guy. This guy is an icon. You know, I mean, my goodness. Freddy is gonna be part of the horror genre forever. Forever. Seriously, that's
Hey.
just...
I want to give a shout out to Vic Mensa, the rapper. He's 26 today, so happy birthday, Vic Mensa.
Oh,
Yep, it's his
Okay.
birthday as well today. Let's see who else's birthday is today.
okie dokie.
Who else? Go Yayo is also a rapper, and he's 23 today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, my own brother, my real brother, his birthday's today as well. So happy birthday to you.
bro.
Bam Bam, if you're listening, happy birthday, bro, and enjoy it. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
David Belmonte from TikTok. He's a TikTok star,
Oh,
and he
I
turns
see.
20 today. Yeah.
Okay,
You don't-
okay. I see.
Focus.
Sounds cool to me.
Oh, DeAndre Hopkins, a football player. He turns 27 today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to everyone who has a birthday today.
Wow. Birthdays are fun. Except when they act like Groundhog Day. The reason why I say this is because, oh my God, I'm trying to remember which was the narrator that a few weeks ago, maybe a month or two, uploaded a story called Happy Birthday. I don't know who wrote it, but it was kind of creepy. It kind of did a Groundhog's Day version of Happy Birthday. If I find it, I'll link it. It was pretty cool. I liked it.
Nice.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Robert Englund. I love Robert Englund. He's the best.
I believe they're coming up. I believe they're making a new Freddy movie.
Oh, my goodness. That's going to be epic. I hope he's in it, though. You know, I hope that they make good on the franchise, because I believe that the last one they did was horrible, because they picked another guy and nobody knew him. Who do you guys think would make a good Freddy Krueger if Mr. England decides not to do it? Who could they pick? Who do you think? Who would you pick, honey? You don't know? Well, while you think about it, I think Nicolas Cage would do a good job.
Yeah, I think so too. Nicolas Cage would make a
He
good
has
Freddy.
a creepy villain vibe.
Yeah.
When he plays a bad guy,
Yeah.
he's good at that.
Yeah, I remember Face Off. He was awesome in Face Off.
Yeah, he was really awesome in Face Off. It was crazy. The person he played. Hey, Stacy, Scotty. Love us some Stacy. Yes, we do. How you doing, girl? Okay. Oh, the Swedish mom says the music is a little too loud. Okay. When we talk soft. So, if we want everybody to hear us, let's get a little closer to the mic, or we can lower the music as well.
Sure, whatever you want to do. You want to lower the music?
Let's just get closer.
All right. Hey, we love you too, Stacy. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, Miss Stereo, why don't you start reading that story?
Well, because Mythology Loves Horror's not here yet.
How about if she never stops by?
Yeah, I left her a message and said an hour, or when she shows up, whichever comes first. So within an hour, she's not here.
All right, well then reach out to Puerto Rican to see if he's ready to read a story.
Actually, what he said was that he was going to tell us some stories about his childhood in Santeria and his grandma.
Right.
So that's going to be interesting. I'm really very, very excited to hear that. Those are some of the creepiest stories I've heard, honestly. I once heard this preacher man talking about how he used to be involved in Santeria and all of the things that he did. It was just wild. It was very scary. And like, I swear, the first time I heard it, I was so shook that Puerto Rican, hi.
Yeah, now we're gonna get the party started.
Absolutely. I was actually so shook when I first heard that story that I honestly didn't sleep very well that night. I really didn't. And then I showed it to you. Do you remember the baldy guy? He went on some anyway, it was he's some sort of evangelist, preacher dude. And he speaks Spanish, and it was just really scary, all the experiences that he said he had. I mean, oh my goodness. Everybody's listening to, okay. Well, anyway, so yeah, Robert Englund. This guy's birthday is today, and I'm just so excited because I love me some Robert Englund, and I'm so glad that Puerto Rican has joined the chat. Buddy.
Ask him if he's ready to tell the story.
Whenever you're ready, let us know, because we're gonna take your how do you call it, on Twitter. We're gonna send you an invite to join us. We'll try Hangouts first, and if that doesn't work, we'll try Skype, or which do you prefer, actually? Hi, Mandy.
Mandy Mortem, what's going on, Mandy Mortem? Thanks for stopping by. And Puerto Rican, we can't wait to hear those stories. I'm really interested because that's a topic that's close to me because, a little story after my mom and my dad broke up, she was toe up, and some people try to convince her that, hey, we can help you get them back, just for a few dollars we can do this and this and this. And it was like some Santeria witches. And I remember, as a young kid, her taking me along with her to these botanicas, as they call them in Spanish. You know, those are places where people, go for favors from these practitioners of the dark arts, I guess you could say, or whatever. So yeah, I know how they get down. So it's gonna be some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I remember not just hearing stories, but my grandmother used to practice Santeria when I was a little girl, and she had an altar in the whole nine.
Yeah.
Like, she really was really heavy into it. And I got a lot of scares because that stuff ran heavily in my family up until she converted to Christianity, and a lot of the family followed. I mean, my mom's a pastor, my parents are pastors, so that was a 180 right there. That was like, hot, cold, fire and ice, or whatever. It's just complete oranges and apples. Totally different venues. They went a different direction. That's not to say that some of my family still doesn't practice a little bit or does other things. We're not all in the same religion, but hey, it is what it is, But yeah, that was crazy. I lived a lot of experiences, and I've heard a lot of stories that were scary. A lot. So anyway, yes, Mandy. Hi, Red Kryptonite. Welcome.
Red Kryptonite's in the house, everybody. What's up?
Very happy to see you, brother.
Nice. Thanks for stopping by, dude.
Thank you. Yes, that's really cool of you.
We got Mike P, and we got Red Kryptonite, Mandy Mortem. It's a whole slew of people up in here, so that's very cool. Don't be afraid to side chat with one another. That's pretty cool. Go right on ahead.
Yeah, Puerto Rican is updating Skype, so I guess that's where we're gonna be chilling today. That's perfectly cool. Not a problem.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, sounds great. Let's see who else. So yeah, baby, who else should we do a thing with? Red Kryptonite had us on how do you call it, on his live stream, before as well.
So yeah, hey Red Kryptonite, if you would like to chat with us, we do Skype and we do Google Hangouts, so
yeah, if you want to come hang out at the panel, let us know.
Maybe after Puerto Rican does his stories, maybe we could get Red Kryptonite on, people. That would be cool.
That sounds like
if he's down, if he's not busy, because I guess he's a busy dude,
Yeah, he really is. He works very hard on his channel as well.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, definitely got talent here. Mandy Mortem has a really cool channel as well. I think did we see her channel before? As a matter of fact, do you remember? I don't remember. I don't think we did. Let's see here, Mandy. La, la, la,
Wait,
la,
we should
Mandy.
ask her. We should ask her first.
Oh yeah, that's right, Mandy. Hey, you mind if we take a look at your channel, Mandy? Let us know. Say it in the link.
Yeah, same with Red Kryptonite.
Yes.
Would you mind if we took a little look at your channel, Red Kryptonite?
Mandy said her channel's not serious. What do you mean it's not serious? I don't get it. See? Okay.
I guess she's saying it's okay. But don't take my word for it.
I don't know. She just said
So
her channel's
Mandy,
not
are you
serious.
saying it's okay? Are you saying it's okay for us to
if
check
she
out the channel?
clarifies, I'll go on. Oh, and Red Kryptonite said it's fine. That's cool.
Alright, so until we hear from Mandy, take it away, sweetie. Go over to Red Kryptonite's Arcade's channel.
Yeah, let's see what's
give
going
it
on
Let's
here.
give it a look. This is
This
for anyone who has never been to Red Kryptonite's channel.
Okay.
This is for you.
Yes.
We've been there, so we know.
Yeah, I know,
So
right?
this is for anyone else who hasn't.
let's put this in dark mode because YouTube always looks better in dark mode.
Yeah,
actually, everything looks better in dark mode. Twitter, Twitch, it just does. It's just the way that it is. Let me open up this thingamajigger here and let's see. Yo. So this is Red Kryptonite's channel, y'all. And Red Kryptonite is a rapper, a gamer. He's a super chill dude as well. This is his channel. Yep. This is really cool. Look, it has like the film reel there in red.
Yeah, I see that. Let me read the about.
Yes. Here we go.
Let's see what the about is about. Okay, so he says, hey guys, it's your boy Red Kryptonite, and I just want to tell you guys a little bit about myself. Well, for starters, I make rap and hip-hop music. I have been inspired to do so since middle school, and ever since then, I have been trying to put my name out there. I also do gaming streams, which I do have Twitch for that, but I just can't leave my YouTube's family like that, so I also do reaction videos and talk with the community about certain topics. I feel that one day my word will get out there, and if it does, then it does, and if not, it's all in fun, right? So join the YouTube and so yeah, this is his about section. Let's check out some of his videos, y'all. As you can see, it's very eclectic. PS4 games, some track 2,
it's a song.
Yeah, it's a song.
Also, if you can see right there, there's a picture of Mike P singing.
Yeah, Mike P, what's up?
Yeah, this guy can sing. Oh yeah, the one where we were all singing together. That was fun. Let me see here. 1 second, you guys. Let's see.
Mama Mysteria was doing her thing on that one.
Okie dokie. So let's see, who else do we have here? Mandy Morton says, I live by a fire station. Oh, okay.
She says you can look at my videos, but I can't start narrating until I move up and then get a setup. So
okay,
she said, yeah, sure, why not? Go for it.
Okay. So let's see
whatever
here.
Floats your boat.
Oh man, you guys. Oops, somebody else. MD Who? Hey Doc.
The doctor is in. The doctor's in the house.
Yes, he is. Here we got Mandy Mortem. Okay. No reason activity. Well, that looks creepy. Look at that face. Isn't that cute?
Yeah, it's adorable. That's a face. That's a face you could bring home to mom and dad and be like, hey.
Oh man, that's so hilarious. Let's see. Does she have an about section? Oh my God, that's so funny. Look.
No matter who we are, we all end up dead.
And you are right, Mandy. That is absolutely correct. We're all gonna die. That is one thing that is certain here.
Never been said.
Oh man. Let's see. How are you doing, Doc, this evening? How you guys are doing? Let's see. He says, very scary. Was great co-host for that video. Oh, okay. So you guys know each other. I guess you saw that video. We're gonna have to see it because it sounds like it was fun. So let's see here. Red Kryptonite says he can't get on Skype. He's not been feeling good all day. Okay. Well, you know what? We hope you feel better soon. It sucks not to feel good. You know, I don't like being sick.
Yeah, get well. Excuse me. Get well soon, Red Kryptonite.
Yeah, it sucks to be sick. I don't like feeling. There's sometimes that I just don't like feeling. Well, nobody ever likes feeling crappy.
What's going on with Mythology Loves Horror and Puerto Rican?
Well, Puerto Rican said he's updating his Skype.
Okay.
And Mythology Loves Horror has not gotten back to us yet. How long have we been on?
34
minutes and 27 seconds. So yeah. No, she has not gotten back to me yet, not as of yet, but as soon as she does, which most likely would be here in the chat, and if she actually does show up in the chat within the next 20 or something minutes or so, we will definitely start her story. But if she doesn't, we'll start her story anyway.
Okay.
You know?
That sounds cool. Alright, so this is MD Who's.
What the heck was that?
This is MD Who's channel.
Ooh.
Wait, what's happening here?
Oh, no. Copyright.
Yeah.
Copyright.
Okay.
But that
So
looked
this
like it
is,
was interesting.
This is MD Who's Entertainment's channel, people. If you don't know, they're all about
cool banner.
got cool banner right there. Very nice.
Dr. Slaughter.
Psycho by Robert Block. Dr. Slaughter. They have some. I guess this is. Let's see the about first, so we could definitely know. So this channel is primarily a storytelling channel. I tell pre-existing stories as well as a few of my own. Okay. So he's about telling his own stories as well as a few others. I think we looked at this. Gemini. I like this. I'm a Gemini, people. So any other Geminis in this house? And let us know in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. What sign are you, by the way? Oh, Jose says he's okay. I'm gonna be doing some stuff with him on the side while you guys talk about who's what. Ooh. So I can send him the invite link. Okay, Joe, Jose. Mandy says she has a fun channel. Yeah, the Swedish mom. Yeah, we've looked at her channel before as well. Okay, let's see. Okay, Jose, hold on. What we're gonna do is this. You're gonna send me a link. Not a link, I'm sorry. You're gonna send me your Skype handle. Okay? And when you send me your Skype handle on Twitter, I will copy and paste it onto our Skype thingamajigger here, and I will actually how do you call it, and then after that I'll just call you, and as long as you got all your stuff set up on Skype, you should be good. All you have to do is just send me that handle, send me your name on Twitter in a DM, okay, and I will copy and paste it, and then we'll be talking. Ooh, spooky stuff. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, guys. This is gonna be scary. Yeah, those stories always just get the best of me. So anyway, looking forward to no sleep tonight. Yeah, that's absolutely what I want to be doing. Not sleeping. I want to be scared. And we lost that. Hey dear, could you plug the computer back in for me? Thank you. So anyway, you guys, tell me. You did. So anyway, tell me, you guys. Let's hear. Let me turn this screen around so I can look at it while my other computer boots. And FD Entertainment says, do you get a copyright strike for showing someone else's channel trailer on the stream? Yeah, I think so. You can't play any audio, at least in the very least from what I am aware. It's better not to find out. But yeah, you can actually I've seen it happen before to other people. I've seen people with no warning, nothing, and just get a strike.
That's right. So you gotta be careful.
Yep. That's totally. Oh yeah, he says he DM'd. Okay, good. That way we can go and copy that and paste it. This is gonna be fun, y'all. So let me know. Do any of you guys, anybody else here, have any scary stories? Let us know.
If there's anything that he has to follow, like any sort of guidelines, you should let him know first.
Okay. So basically, what we're aiming for here, we gotta make sure we don't get any copyright strikes. We gotta make sure we don't get any like, what do you call it, you know, no lewdness, none of that. We got to keep this all PG, just so you guys know. So anybody who calls in from here on in, just make sure everything stays PG and all on the legal, and all on the up and up. You know, nothing that can, you know, get us some strikes and whatnot. So let's see here. Jose, I'm gonna call you right now. Okay. Did you want just well, anyway, we'll just do a video call, and I will but we're not gonna be showing, you know, our faces or anything like that. Okay, here, sorry about the loudness, guys. Ooh, that's loud.
Hello.
Hey, Jose.
Hey.
How
What's going
are you
on,
doing,
Jose? ¿Cómo
brother?
está? Can you hear us?
You gotta mute. Yes, we can hear you. You just gotta mute your PC. Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you. Totally. We can hear you. You just gotta mute the PC so that we don't. Yeah, I hear you, brother. I'm just working some quirks in here. You guys, let us know if you guys can see and hear Jose. Oh, we could hear you fine. I just want to make sure that the live hears you.
We just want to make sure everyone else can hear you.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's a little lag.
Yeah, something's going on. Who knows? Let's see here. Let's switch to the communications tab. Let's see what's going on here. Here we go. Why can I see him? Yeah, no, absolutely. We're just looking live 6-7 active speaker. I think it's this one. Is it this one? Wait, I can't even remember what was his handle because because I'm slow. Okay, Jose. Okay, let me just make sure that I got the right one here. Sorry about this, you guys. Just some technical difficulties. I hope that you guys like what you've been having so far. Yeah, I can hear you. It's just something's going on with my audio. That's really strange. First, it sounds.
I think it sounds good now.
Yeah. No, I got you. Oh no, you sound fine. It's just my audio is acting weird.
Hey, people, let us know in the chat if everything sounds okay on your side. So if anyone can let us know, that'll be great. If you could hear Puerto Rican, if you could hear us. I'm not sure.
I closed other windows just to be safe, so I can't see the chat right now.
No, yeah, I got you. Let's see. Let me make him a little bigger so he doesn't look weird. Let's see here. Let me open this up so that way we can. Yes. Hey, brother, we can see you very well. Did you lower my mic, by the way? Or am I bugging?
Try it now.
Here? Okay.
That sounds good now.
Okay, it sounds fine. So, hey, everybody, let us.
Sounds good?
Yes, you sound fine. You gotta lower your mic a little bit.
Lower your mic
a little loud. It's a little loud. Hey, guys, let me know.
Lower it?
Yeah, lower it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, you sound a little muffled.
Hold on, let me see if I can adjust the audio.
So how was your day? How was your day, Joe?
My day was pretty good.
Awesome.
Doing the single papa thing, taking care of little man, stuff like that. Okay. Doing what I gotta do.
That's awesome, man. You need to be commended for that. As you know, it's hard for single dads, man. Single dads don't get enough respect and propers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I know it is rough. I've gotten criticism from single moms that single dads can't do it, and that whole thing I'm not going to get into. But So, doesn't feel good, you know.
Yeah,
I
it's.
try to give a mutual respect for any single parent as well as
Mhm.
both parents.
Mhm.
But you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah,
it is what it is. As
yeah.
long as I do what's right, that's all that matters.
Oh
Amen.
yeah,
Preach it.
absolutely. It's not easy to being a parent. Period.
But anyway, so I'm gonna just throw you guys into a quick little background of before we get into a couple of the experiences.
Wait.
Basically,
Hold on for a second. Swedish mom, you said someone needs to try to lower the volume. Is it us or is it Puerto Rican?
Okay, it might be Jose
I
still. Oh
have to
my
go
God,
into my
why
other
do I do
settings.
that?
Hold on.
I don't know. You got me following.
I'm so sorry, Jose. I keep calling you Joe. I don't know why.
So I'm just running this straight through Skype, so I gotta look for those settings.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, just lower the master
Mm,
volume. If you are you running a Windows PC? Are you on a Windows PC, Jose? I don't think he heard me.
Give me a moment. I'm trying to find how
Okay,
to
okay.
adjust
The volume.
my mic settings.
Okay.
Okay, okay. So, anyway, read the chat, baby. I'm still logging in.
So Swedish mom
Running
said,
every other setting except it.
What was that?
I mean, I could try to back away.
okay.
That
Yeah,
right now I'm
All
not
right.
finding this.
that's a good mic.
That's smart. That's a good
Um,
idea. Okay, so why don't you give us a
How's
background?
this distance?
That's good. We can't see you, but that's fine.
Okay, I'm good here.
Yeah, you sound good.
You guys,
All
let us.
right.
Is the
Well,
monitor?
my earliest memory of growing up with my grandmother, 1978. Deities within their religion. So a lot of the altars, in-home altars and stuff that would be seen, were statues of like Saint Mary and Saint so and so. But I always had paranormal experiences in my grandmother's apartment. Some of my earliest memories were first of shadow people. Um, Many times I would be sitting in a room late at night with her watching novellas and stuff, and from the corner of my eye, I could see down like part of a hallway in the apartment. And part of the apartment was very elongated. I forgot the type of apartment, but if you know what I mean, when you walk in into the apartment, every room's like on the left side, and there's this one long hallway at the end,
Always, yes,
a
yes.
living room. So we'd sit in the living room, and I could see down this dark hallway, and I would see things like popping out from doorways,
Wow.
just stepping out, or a hole, like pulling itself, poking its head out, looking at me. But
Ooh, that's scary.
freaked out because the only light in the whole apartment was the TV.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine like a 30-foot hallway being pitch black, but seeing something darker than that, something moving, a silhouette. But the way this thing moved, it was unreal. It was like it would zip. It would zip into line of sight. Look, and you can tell it has movement. It like connects with you too, mentally, emotionally. The silhouette, just it knows you're looking at it, and then it would just quickly like zip right back into the doorway.
Mm.
And there were many experiences that started like that from my first memories.
Wow.
How old were you when this happened?
One thing that really guys that always frightened me was in South Korea sometimes they have I forgot the name of the doll, but basically it looks like a little rag doll voodoo doll. But the one she had was made of all cloth. It wasn't fancy. You could tell it was more homemade. And this doll would always sit in a room somewhere. When I was growing up, it sat in the back corner of the living room behind this, the old school big like wicker chairs they used to have back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like Spanish person had, oversized wicker chairs.
Yeah.
This ragdoll sat in the behind it. It sat on a bag of rice with a cigar in its lap, and underneath would be she had sometimes a glass of water, or sometimes like rum as the offering.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the eyes were made of cloth, so the pupil was like a circle of cloth on top of a white circle for the rest of the eye. The mouth was just this weird, faded red, like oval smirk about it.
Mm.
The first thing that really got to me as a kid was it just felt uneasy around this doll. I always had this feeling like this doll was watching me.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, I would swear that I could leave the room, come back, and see this thing change, almost changes its features, or change how it looks. Sometimes it looked like it was smirking. Sometimes it would look like it's mad. And for a long time, I couldn't tell if it was just in my head as a child, like, am I playing tricks with me? Or is it really like changing expressions?
Wow.
And it wasn't later on in life, I found out it wasn't just me that seen this. People in the family, other families, but no one spoke about it.
Right.
Because that was thing you just left alone.
Exactly.
My grandpa was, don't talk about it. It's none of your business. That's my thing, and that was it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh.
The blink of an eye. All we felt was this force come across our faces, all three of us.
Mm.
Now, my little brother, he was about 3.5, so I was about 7. My cousin's the same age.
Right.
And when we realized what happened, we see this chair that had this doll. Mind you, it was in a rocking chair, like a little doll rocking chair kind of thing.
Oh yeah, even creepier, yeah.
It was coming to a slow halt.
Okay.
We jumped up screaming like bloody murder. Okay. And my dad was in the wicker chair on the other side, right. And we're like running up to him, to grandmother. Mm-hmm. All my grandmothers did was punish us. We never understood why. Oh. The understood why she punished us till
Right.
much later when we got older and understood this more. But that was our first scary experience.
Mm.
Oh,
That
I would after. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was gonna ask you. Do you know how old you were around, more or less?
Well, that experience, I was 7.
Okay.
I was 7 years old.
Mm.
Um,
Children are very sensitive, to the supernatural and the
Mm-hmm.
paranormal. So whatever it is you saw, you probably did see. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, later, that's what got me into paranormal. These things got me in paranormal, and yeah, finding out that kids are open. We're not taught to not believe in it. Until that's put in our minds, everything's open.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's a programming thing. If you're told this is going to hurt you, you're going to grow up thinking, that holding a piece of paper is going to hurt you if you're taught that. So I think it's one of those instances. But soon after that instance, um, I had gone back home to New Jersey, and it kind of freaked me out. I forgot about it for a while. Then I went back for the summer to spend the summer there at my grandmother's house. And so, that me and my cousin could play this and that. We would stay in the living room on the old school pull-out sofas with the thin mattress,
Mm-hmm.
the old plastic, the clear plastic that you had to take off and like
Yeah.
you stick to in the summer.
Uh
One of those back.
huh. That brings
You,
back a
you
lot
know
of
what?
memories for me. Yeah.
Yeah, the horror plastic furniture
Yeah.
coverings, but one night, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, one night, my cousin and I, um, we were up kind of late. My grandmother was getting mad, and she finally told us we need to get to bed. Usually, she left like a night light on in the kitchen area, so we could get that radiant light. So when in the middle of the night, if we had to go to the bathroom, we could go down the other hall into the bathroom. So my cousin and I were kind of up late. My grandmother yelled a few times, like, shut up, go to bed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin and I start falling asleep after a while. And I'm not sure how much time had passed, but knowing how those couches are, any movement you feel, if
Right.
you're sleeping next to whatever, you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You're awake. At one point, I feel the end of the sofa where our feet would be kind of push down and move a little. So my first thought is, okay, my cousin's either getting out to, go to the bathroom or he's coming back in and crawling, to his side, but from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the old couch, those hinges on the side you couldn't crawl into without like wrecking yourself. So you had to crawl in from the bottom of the couch. So I opened my eyes for a second to kind of tell him, like, hey, take it easy, try to see. When I open my eyes, I'm on my side and I go to face him, like in the middle. His eyes are wide open, bugged.
Mm.
Like he's just crazy bug-eyed.
Mm-hmm.
And we both had this look like we looking at each other like, well, you're there. And then we feel movement again at the bottom of the bed. So we simultaneously look, kind of towards the end of the bed. And both of us to this day swear we saw the doll hoisted on its like stumpy whatever limbs at the foot of the couch, the bed, looking at us. And we didn't know what to do. I wanted to scream, but nothing would come out.
Mm.
And my cousin's just digging his arms into me, not knowing what to do. This just staring at this doll it felt like probably minutes, but it was probably more towards closer 5, 6, 7 seconds. All of a sudden, the pressure comes off, and again, like in a blink of an eye, this thing's back. It disappears from the end of the bed and it's back in its chair. Mind you, the only light was coming in was ambient city light, from other buildings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we see the chair again walking to a slow halt. We booked into my grandmother's room, screaming in the middle of the night, crying our eyes out. All she said was, "Next time, leave it alone. Get in my bed."
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know what to do. We just, it was Abuela. We listened. We jumped into bed gladly, and like, okay, whatever you say, old lady. We're just gonna go into the bed. She leaves the room, and we couldn't make out what she was saying, but she was like talking and almost scolding something else in the living room.
What?
Wait,
And then
what?
She was scolding something in the living room. The doll.
Yeah.
Whoa.
She came back in and said, "You are never to go by it again, and it'll leave you alone." I don't remember how to say it in Spanish, but this is what she was saying in Spanish. But that she was talking about the doll saying, "It will leave you alone." Like there's a mutual agreement. You don't mess with it, and ever since then, I never went near that doll. I don't care. You're going to pay me enough money. Even to this day, if I seen that doll at this day, I would probably have a massive heart attack.
Wow.
But the strange thing is, people that have never known that story or know anything about Santeria,
Right.
friends of my dad or strangers,
Mm-hmm.
all come in. And whenever they seen that doll, has said similar things like, there's something wrong with that doll. It's staring at me. Its expression changes, or it knows I'm here. And these are people that never believed
Right.
and would come saying this about this doll. And at that point, when I started hearing it, I'm like, damn, maybe I'm not crazy. It was kind of validation of, I wasn't making this up. Maybe my grandmother really wasn't nuts. There's something to this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just years of occurrences like that, seeing things and all. When I hit 11 years old, my grandmother then took me to a Santeria ritual, which was horrifyingly hypnotic to be around. And that was a whole other dark experience for me.
You think you could share that one with us? Now that one, I think that one is gonna put us in the right place for creepy goosebumps.
I remember with that one. I remember one day it started off where on a Saturday they took me out clothes shopping, but like these dress clothes.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember specifically it had to be like tan or white. So they were shopping around this and that. I'm like, okay, then I'm kind of used to it. I just hated the whole thing of spending hours and hours shopping with my family.
Of course, what kid doesn't, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't say nothing because Abuela gives you that look like, oh man, now I'm gonna get it.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever, and hours and hours. But I noticed they were like kind of like really down to business about this. But you're a kid, they're adults, you don't really get into it, but you just notice it.
Right.
The next day on a Sunday, we have to get up early.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling me get dressed, this and that. Oh, before that, the night before, I had to take a bath in Aqualada. What is it? The Spanish Florida water.
Yeah.
That's like a cologne.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what that is.
Now my mom.
That sweet smelling like rubbing on.
Yeah, my mom used to drink that for her heart condition.
They put it in the bath water and stuff. I had to take a bath in that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So I now remember that I had to do that. And it was like a whole peculiar little things of events to get ready and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother went with She had bought a white dress, but she wasn't wearing it yet, like this long white gown kind of thing.
Right.
So we're going on a trip, and it's a long trip in the car. I don't pay attention, but I remember getting to this like seedy-looking area and this house. And when we go in, the first thing I notice is there's Santeria saints and everything all over the place, like crazy. And all these people there. And I'm like, wow, is this some kind of party? And I'm looking, everyone's kind of dressed the same, all in white, this and that. And I'm like, you know, in my mind, the only thing I remember dressing white for was like either someone's getting christened or like a wedding.
Right.
You know, like, okay, what's this? My grandmother then says, you're coming with me. And we go into this room way in the back of the house. And when we go in, the windows are completely blacked out, like painted black. You can't see light coming in or coming out.
That is so scary.
The walls are black. And the only thing on some of the walls are little like shelves for like candles and stuff like that. And that's it. I'm like, okay. Then a couple guys bring in a few little like chairs and crates. They put it in one corner, this and that. And she told me, oh, you got to stand over here. And she said, you just stand and watch. That's it. I'm like, okay, what am I watching? I'm like, this ain't the parties I remember standing in a circle watching people do salsa, merengue, and dance all night. This is far from it. But it was grandmother, and I feared her, so I wasn't going to disobey her orders. I was going to stand here, whatever's going on.
Yeah, we all.
I'm standing here. I was more afraid. I was afraid of the chancla more than anything.
Yeah, the chancla.
And I could tell by the look and the way she was giving me directions, like it could be that serious if I disobeyed. So I just stood there. Basically, to sum it up, was part of it was they start going into music and some dancing, but nothing I've known before. And I see women dancing and stuff, and my grandmother's kind of standing on the opposite side of the room and stuff, and you know she's smoking pot, cigar, taking a drink, and everyone starts getting into this like weird trance, almost. And then, you know, beating on the drums, there's some singing, but it's not songs I would hear off the radio, nothing like that.
Right.
And, you know, at this time they're doing it like a ceremony, lighting candles, placing them, everything and all. Even though I didn't know what was going on, the feeling in the room started changing. First the air feeling very like heavy and thick. But in my mind, at that age, I'm thinking maybe because it's a lot of people, there's no ventilation, it's hot in here. But then I started feeling, no, it just feels off in some way. And as the rhythm's growing and the, you know, the music's really getting into it, and all these people are like getting into a trance and stuff, I'm part of this outer circle of people just standing at the side, and I'm just trying to observe this. I start noticing that for the candles that were like in a circle in the middle of the room, and for the ones that were especially on the shelf, the flames never dipped, but they were but the light was disappearing from those candles along the shelves. It was like the room was just becoming enveloped in this darkness to the edge of the circle of people, even mine, like to my back. I could almost barely make out the candles, and I could see there was just a flame, but it was almost getting blocked out by this inky, dark air. That's all I could explain from that. Then I started getting a feeling like the room was really crowded as all this is going on. I mean, people swaying, you know, really getting into this, and my grandmother's like swaying all about, and it looked like she was almost like convulsing in some ways. Later on, it was like a possession. That's the best way I could describe it now, but back then I didn't know. But all of a sudden, I started seeing shapes in those like black shadows and gray shadows in that darkness around the circle. And I could feel it moving around me, like just presences moving in and out with us. And then they bring her to the middle of the room, and that's when the Santero comes in and starts doing this ritual where he takes an egg and run it over my grandmother's head, down her arms, and starts doing like I guess when they're drawing something out, doing the swooping motion with the hand off the body, they're blowing cigar smoke on her, spitting rum on her, and some of the other participants in the room. I just didn't know what to make of it, but the feeling was crazy. It was, I felt like I was stuck in molasses, like spiritual molasses. Part of my conscious mind was like, what is going on? But my thoughts were so sluggish, and so it was just unbelievably almost like slow motion all around me, but I'm stuck. I'm just stuck watching it. And then at some point, I don't know, I'd never seen it come in. I didn't see or hear this, but they just present from a corner of the room a chicken. Now, I was like, okay, where'd that come from, kind of thing. And that's when the part of Santeria I seen that to this day kind of horrified me. To went into the sacrificing.
Oh God.
And that at not 10, roughly 10, 11 years old was just horrific for me. But I wasn't scared. Like if I just saw it happening, I was still oddly forced to be transfixed with the way everything was going on. It's like I just had no control of myself almost. It was just like I was anchored there. And as they doing the preparation with the chicken, doing like waving this chicken in front of her, this and that, those things that were swirling around, those, I guess, presences, entities, were now closely packed in around us. So it felt like I had a group of people just pushing on my back. I was becoming scared, but I couldn't express it. I couldn't let it go. I was just frozen. And I don't know if it was a fear or if it was whatever was going on was keeping me frozen. As soon as they did what they had to do with the chicken, they started pouring the blood on my grandmother. When that happened, this huge whirlwind of just energy that I guess from the outer circle swooped towards her. And it felt like I was being pulled into a cyclone into her. But this feeling was where I almost lost it. As it's going on, I felt like hands were pulling me into this circle with it, but not me physically, like spiritual me into it. And I was just frightened. I could hear just the Santero doing the things, some of the music, but it felt like at the same time I was in a room full of like people screaming, like 1,000 voices going off, all as this is going on to my grandmother. She finally pretty much almost hits the floor, and this is like hitting a big crescendo, and I'm trying to freak out, but I'm freaking out more that I can't. The room's almost pitch black just around to my grandmother. I can see the candles are there. I know they're like the flame hasn't died, but it was just this mass of blackness that just enveloped all except around the Santero and my grandmother. And everything came to a halting stop. The music, everything. And that's when they got into, like, I guess, the closing part, picking my grandmother up. They took her away, this and that. And everyone kind of just walked off like it was kind of like, oh, okay, we're done. And I'm there like, what the? Well, now I'd say, then I didn't say, but like, what the, bleep is going on? What did I just see?
Mm-hmm.
And people are coming up and like shaking my hand, this and that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, who are you people? What happened to my grandmother? There's blood on her. Was it? And I, but from that point on, leaving that room, I don't remember leaving the house. I don't remember a whole day. I just remember waking up the next day
Wow.
like nothing. I
Mm-hmm.
went. I know I had to have left. I just woke up and it's the next morning, and again, it was one of those want to ask, but you don't ask abuela. You don't just say anything, and I didn't know what to say or ask. That was the next day. I was, changed this, that. I don't know to this day what exactly I encountered, what type of ritual or whatever, but the feeling was just, it's still indescribable of just being enveloped in this darkness as this is going on, feeling like other people up on you that aren't there but are there. And once that happened, I started seeing more things after that at my grandmother's, but some of it wasn't as oddly terrifying for some reason. There was some things I seen that I know I didn't like, but it was more I could sense things now around the apartment rather than see, but I could sense intentions of it.
Mm.
So I don't know. They were somehow putting me in an involvement of that. I'm not saying it was an initiation, but it was like, why me? Why not my cousin? Why not my dad? Why was I in the room? Out of all
Mm-hmm.
the family members, why was I there
Mm.
to witness this? And I think whatever happened that day somehow opened me up for the rest of my life to being more receptive at times and experiencing things and sensing. And it's baffled me because it's not like something you can openly research and get details on. I've tried kind of questioning here and there other people's families maybe, and that some people don't really get into or talk about when it comes to Santeria. Like in there, even with documentaries and stuff you may see, they don't. There's a lot of missing details to it, and you know, my grandmother said, I'm not quite ready for her to explain certain things, but before she could explain it, she ended up passing. So I never got answers. And whenever I've seen family, I still feel some of those lingering things at my family's house because they have some of her statues and stuff still, Santeria statues. But I, to this day, I've never seen the doll, so I don't know what happened to the doll. If that somehow went away when she passed, or whatever. And I've researched looking without getting into rituals and really getting into Santeria myself. I can't find answers,
Right.
and it's a lot that bothers me and still kind of frightens me.
Santeria is
So,
scary, you know. Uh, I really appreciate that. You told us those stories. I hope they didn't open up any unresolved issues or wounds for you. Uh,
oh no, it's actually relieving to kind of talking because you guys understand New York City, and it feels good that someone kind of understands where I'm coming from. It's no offense to anyone that's not Spanish, but bringing up someone that's not Spanish or maybe even African or whatever, or has been around that kind of voodoo slash to Santeria, they think you're crazy.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
It is
it's
very scary
therapeutic
stuff,
me
man.
telling it.
Yeah, it is really scary stuff, and it's really powerful. You know something? My mom, she used to make me carry around this little red pouch, and inside of this red pouch were like I don't know, it was like a passage of something, maybe like a gold plated hand. I don't know what was in it. But she told me you carry this around
Yes.
because this is gonna keep you safe.
See that too, like the gold hand, and what was it? My grandmother gave me for a while, which things seemed to make me too open and worse. Was the necklace with those little like shells, the curled like shells.
Mm-hmm.
You know those
Los
little? They
caracoles.
look like the macaroni shells,
Yeah.
but they're real shells, but they're tiny and like on a necklace.
Right.
And whenever I would wear that, really bizarre things would happen. So I maybe out of respect for her when needed, but otherwise, But the gold hand, I remember a little gold hand too
Yeah.
that she would with her.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, I was carrying that pouch with me, and I would carry it everywhere I go, not knowing why. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trusting her. And one day I got a cop car, a cruiser, was going down the street, and the cop said, "Hey, you, come here." And I was crossing the street. He was like, "If you keep walking, I'm gonna shoot you in the back. So just come here." So I was like, oh, okay. So I went to him, and he was like, "So what you got in your pockets or whatever?" So as soon as I took that pouch out, and he saw I was carrying that pouch, his face, he was white, and his face turned even whiter. And he must know about witchcraft and stuff, because he said, "Look, put that back in your pocket, and I never want to see you again. And get out of here." So I was like, damn, this thing must really work. But I didn't understand.
Well, that's the thing, especially back in the day, or you go to New York, that still kind of does it. There were a lot. Yeah. That necklace too. There was sometimes in certain areas, in certain neighborhoods, back in the day, everyone ready to fight, throw down in the neighborhood, your schoolyard.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there were a couple times that they see that, certain things, and even adults, their attitude changes. There were some grimy adults that were nasty to kids, but they see you with something like that, all of a sudden, it's either respect or like
fear.
They shut down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I never got those answers. I never knew why. My grandmother passed before I could find these answers, and my family won't tell me. So it's been quasi research. But from what I understand, if I really want to know it, I got to jump in it. And I don't know if that's something I want to jump into.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Santeria is a mix of voodoo, right? Voodoo that came from Africa when they had the slave ships and the slaves, and they would go throughout the Caribbean and stuff like that. And some of those slaves brought the voodoo with them, and then the people, the Spanish people like Cuba or Dominican Republic, Haiti, or not so much Haiti, because Haiti is mostly African American, right, from descendant.
African,
right?
Descendant, but so is Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
They both are.
Okay, and in Puerto Rico as well. But they took the voodoo, and then they made it their own, I guess, by adding saints and stuff like that. So then they called it Santeria, because they have a bunch of saints or whatever. And where was I going with this?
Well, it's basically a mix of two religions. Santeria is a mix of African voodoo and Catholicism. Okay, so basically what happened with that story was that after the slaves were brought, after the slaves were brought to the islands, they wanted to disguise their religion. So what they did was, sorry about that, I'm getting a little closer. So what they did was that they disguised.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, sure. They disguised their voodoo dolls and their saints, so to speak, with kind of like costumes, and they switched them up a little. They took all of the Catholic saints like Mary, Joseph, Jesus, all of that.
I can't hear you anymore.
Okay,
so you can't? Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Can you hear us now?
Now I just heard.
Okay.
Yeah, now I can hear.
What the heck was that? So, so they took a lot of their practices and they mixed.
I may have missed after where it came from.
Yeah, the Catholicism and stuff.
Yes. Catholicism mixed with voodoo. and they took their saints and they disguised them as Catholic Church saints. All right, that's why we have the Black Jesus in Santeria. There is they have Black Mary. They have almost every saint that the Catholic Church uses. They have it in Santeria, but they just
Hello?
look
Yeah.
darker. Yeah,
Okay, I don't know if it's my end or
I don't know. Can
something.
everybody in
Now
the
I only get you every so often, like
Can
clips of
everybody in the
words.
chat hear me? Let me know if everybody in the chat can
Maybe I
hear
shouldn't
me.
have said the story. Maybe it's telling me.
So Dame Saturday says that she feels something weird. She also says that she is pagan, so she's
Now I
very
can barely
familiar with all of
hear
this.
you. You're a whisper.
Oh my goodness. I don't know, that's
Um,
weird.
well, that's what happens when you talk about certain things, right? Um,
Yeah.
well, okay.
Okay, so who exactly is it that you can hear? Both of us or him
Can you
or
hear me
me?
good or?
Well, you're like in and out. Like you asking me, can I hear you good? You sounded good then, and then
Okay.
it just sounds silent.
Okay. All right. So,
I don't know if I'm coming through or not.
everybody says yes.
So can you hear us both? Okay, good.
Okay, now I'm starting to hear you when you're asking.
Okay.
She said that there
This is weird.
is
A
Feels
a
like
strong.
we're not
strong
supposed
buzz in the
talking
air.
about this.
Yeah, this is some pretty deep stuff. Like when you were saying those stories about what happened to you at the house with the doll, it was like, yeah, it was creeping me out for sure. Very scary stuff there. Like this is a great call because your story is like really scary.
It really is.
This
She said
I've
she hears
seen
faint
other
whispers.
things since then in other parts of my life. I've seen two exorcisms, like Christian
Oh, really?
exorcisms. Yeah,
Oh, so you
yeah. One
seen?
was with my father's second wife, where I get my half brother and stuff. And this was not too long after the Santeria ritual, and she wasn't present, so it wasn't that late to her. But like I don't know why I was present for a lot of these things happening and stuff. But that one was like almost movie type of exorcism where her voice changed.
Mm.
The most rotten smell. It was first a sweet, oddly sweet smell, not floral, nothing. It was like if you know when meat goes bad, it can have that sweet rancid kind of smell. It started like that. Then it just got into this. I don't know, it smelled like pure septic manure. That's all, but like where you wanted to vomit.
Mm-hmm.
Just came through the house. It was the house was sealed, no open windows, but it was flowing through. And this woman, she was 6'1", Germanic. She was Estonian, so basically Germanic descent.
Mm-hmm.
And it took 6 men. My dad, is like a short pit bull, Puerto Rican pit bull, just strong, thick.
Mm-hmm.
He could handle himself,
Mm-hmm.
and he was pretty much like boss her type of exorcism. That she was just fighting them, and it was just it seemed endless, and at the same time it seemed instant, but it had gone on for 4.5 hours. It's the exorcism, and the voice on this woman, very sweet, loving, gentle female voice. But during the exorcism, not a voice of her own. I couldn't duplicate or try to electronically or anything duplicate. I've never heard anything since. And it was just an experience. My little brother, we got him to sleep, but I couldn't sleep. Again, it was one of those where I was very tuned into everything that was going on, and it was just. Oh, she has something.
Wow.
Okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go right
okay.
ahead.
You know, don't worry. Continue.
Uh, um, for some reason, I just knew something wasn't right. She wasn't acting herself, this and that. It was where my dad and my dad and my mom had been long since divorced. They kind of spoke, they were cordial to each other because of me, but also, my half brother, so he was staying over. But at like 9 o'clock at night, my dad comes over
Mm-hmm.
with his wife at the time, my half brother's mom.
Right.
And they go right towards my mom's bedroom
Mm-hmm.
to have a talk. And then I hear mom praying in tongues. Then I see my dad run out, use the house phone. He's calling a few people. And 20 minutes later, the pastor of his church is showing up, and like 5, 6 people from the church is just showing up right into the bedroom. And they tell me just take, my brother Kasim into the living room and try to get him to sleep. I'm like, all right, what the hell is, going on? No one's telling me,
Mm-hmm.
but okay, I'm gonna do it. As he's going to sleep, I'm starting to hear like little growls here and there and all. I'm like, okay, something's going on. Now, none of the lights in the rooms were on. In the other room, in the bedroom where they had her, this and that. And then I start smelling a rotten smell. Now, I'm thinking, okay, I'm next to my little brother. Maybe he's, like ripping him in his sleep. Some
Uh-huh.
fears.
Right.
But he ain't moving, he ain't budging. And then I realized the smell's like coming from, across the apartment. I went to use the bathroom, and as I got closer to the bathroom, which isn't far from the bedroom, the smell was horrific. I mean, like I went into the bathroom and I had to hold my nose and try to, take a leak, this and that. But I hurried up and it just was permeating throughout the apartment. Then I started hearing my pastor's voice of them, rebuking something.
Mm-hmm.
And then the growls grew louder. And I realized that the growls sound sort of like my dad's wife. And I hear my dad, speaking in tongues, a lot of speaking in tongues, rebuking.
Mm-hmm.
Then I hear oddly what at the core of it was her voice, but it wasn't her voice, just cursing back. Saying, you can't have me, you can't have her. Um,
Hmm.
saying, God, your God is weak, this and that,
Wow.
Hmm.
all kinds of things. Four and a half hours. I'm in the living room, way on the other side of the apartment. It's a kitchen. It was like a horseshoe-shaped apartment, second floor. So I can look into the kitchen. The only light on was the kitchen stove light, on the range above. That starts flickering as all this is intensifying. My half brother's asleep, and I'm in the living room just practically crapping myself. Like, what is this? Like I'm smelling these things. I'm hearing something in like a commotion, what sounds like almost fighting in the other room. I don't know. Like, are they someone getting beat up? This, that, and the lights were flickering in the kitchen. Then the lights went out for a few seconds, came back on, this
Mm-hmm.
and that.
Right.
And again, it was that similar. I started remembering my grandmother's, that heavy, oppressive feeling was starting to fill the air. And that's when it just started. I started crying because
Oh my God.
I started flashbacks of my grandmother and experiencing that. The
Of
difference was I
course.
wasn't stuck this time.
Right.
I could fully move and experience it and, like, react to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was even more horrible because I could tell I'm reacting to it this time.
Right.
And this had to have gone on, I believe, almost 4.5 hours of them rebuking this, that, running in the kitchen a couple times for water. I guess they were trying to anoint water. They used up whatever, pastor praying. Bibles, this and that.
That's a
After
brave pastor. That's a brave pastor.
all this done, everyone kind of calmed down, and again, they kind of went on their way, not telling me anything. I'm a kid. But again, I didn't ask. At this point, I kind of knew with familiar feelings. I gathered my own info. Something really messed up happened, and I probably really don't want to know. I did want to know, but I really didn't want to know that answer and have the confirmation of this.
Mm.
I found out as well, that makes this interesting, is the landlord that we had issues with. We always had electrical problems and weird things happen in our apartment. I caught wind. I guess they were nosy too, and saw all these people at like 3, 4 in the morning leaving, whatever. Asked my mom,
Right.
and they got upset that like the pastor was there, and I guess she explained my mom was bold and at the time, very much into God, had no problem saying that it was them trying to cast out a demon.
Right.
The landlord kind of got mad. And my mom had noticed that at the downstairs door that led to their apartment, they usually use the side door, but when they wanted to speak to us, they used the formal front door to their apartment.
Okay.
That behind the little alcove of that door in the apartment was a setup for Santeria.
What? Oh my.
Wait, what?
The whole time we lived there, we didn't know they'd been.
The landlord, man.
Santeria.
The landlord was done with Santeria. And he was
Yeah.
upset. He was upset
So
when
then I realized that's why some of the things were familiar. I'm picking up on things.
Mhm.
And when all this went down,
Right.
I always felt like a little uneasy at home, but I never really wasn't like what I experienced my grandmother's and all. But when that hit, and then I thought of the feelings of the exorcism, then my grandmother's ritual,
Yeah.
I said, that's why I'm feeling what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling.
Familiar
I
spirits.
told my mom, I don't want to live here. I told her, I don't want to live here. And it was the one time my mom said, I'm already, in the works for that. She wasn't about to stay there.
Right.
And it took us maybe 3 months, got up out of there. And we found out years later that all kinds of tragic things happened to that family downstairs.
Oh my.
Like they must have been too deep and stuff started coming back to them or something.
Mhm.
But it was a weird link back to earlier experiences. But that possession really put a lot of different fears in me. Fear of God, fear of the devil, fear of a lot of, the smell and hearing this gentle, beautiful woman, the stuff that was coming out of her mouth being said, to how her voice sounded.
Right.
And,
her face changed as well, right?
Years later, my dad finally opened up and he said her face was indescribable.
Mm.
He said her skin and all the muscles just tightly shrunk to her skull.
Wow.
Like as if she just turned super emaciated.
Wait, what?
Like a raisin, right? Like a raisin?
Holy crap.
Yeah, but no wrinkles. It just like shrink wrapped to her skull.
Mm.
He said the smell that was coming out of her mouth was almost making everyone vomit. Everyone was speaking in tongues, doing their things, trying to cover their mouths.
That must have
He
been
said
the
that
smell
just
of
the
sulfur.
smell that came out of her.
That
like
must
a
have
rotten
been
egg. Like a rotten egg.
Just sulfur, putrid, rotten stuff. And I told him then, I said, that was hitting me in the living room.
Right.
And he didn't, we never had a discussion of what I experienced. And we got into what my grandmother experienced. And he got mad. She was long past. But he was mad that I was even present for that Santeria ritual. He knew something I didn't, and never went further than he was mad. He's all he said was that wasn't right of her, and he should have never been there.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's the end of it. But after that one conversation, he'll never talk about, the exorcism either. It's something he will never conversate about. He goes to church, he's seen it casting out before, but when it comes to that night, he will not discuss that.
Oh, hell no.
And ever since those experiences and other things with friends and all, that's what got me into like the paranormal, reading about it myself and, doing the haunted trips and things. It all started from like 3 years old, seeing these things, but mainly first with my grandmother at that ritual, and then really kicked into curiosity and trying to get answers from that exorcism.
Mm-hmm. I think that I believe that a chosen few of us are put through these kind of situations as a way of waking us up and hopefully could lead to
The
better
awakening of others.
understanding, yeah, and the awakening of others. You know what I mean? Who are not as sensitive, and who have never experienced any of those things. They need to hear our testimonies, our stories, you know, if they themselves have not witnessed or been through it.
Wow. I mean,
Now, I do believe we all have that gift and possibility, but like with a talent or some people are just whether they if you want to say they're more in tuned or it's more naturally gifted where you can be trained just this and that depends on upbringing, how receptive or open minded or how closed minded to certain things you are. But I know from my experiences, a lot of it has happened when I wasn't even seeking things that way. It's just one of those where, I could be in the store and all of a sudden, you get that gut instinct about someone or something. And, or certain situations or like, for me, it's if you enter a room and, people were fighting and they're putting on a show, it's not a matter of heck, it's just that air of like, okay, someone was arguing. So, something's up.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just tried chalking that up to growing up in the city back in the 80s and 90s. You always had to be on guard. But this is a little bit deeper and all. But I think my grandmother, before her passing, I think she had further plans, maybe not into Santeria, but maybe to explain things and make me understand it. And I never had that chance. So whatever I had to find out in life, I had to go through it or kind of just figure it out on my own. But towards what she practiced, I've always had this real fear, like I want answers, but I'm not gonna go deep to get those answers like that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
get involved. It's just a feeling like no, that would lead to a bad road. But
Yeah.
there's so much nagging at me, and unfortunately, it is one of those communities you can't just go ask. It's not like, I could walk into the Catholic Church and say, tell me about Catholicism. Well, here's blah, 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 blah. Well, what do you do? Okay, this is what we do. Santeria is one of those communities. You can't really go asking questions like that.
Yeah, it's very secretive. It's almost like walking up to a guy in the mafia or somebody from the Trinidad, from what's that called, the Triads, that gang,
mm-hmm.
and be like, "Hey, what's the Triads about? What you about?" Because I asked somebody that one time, a Triad dude. I said, "Hey, what's the Triads about? What you all about?" And he said, "If I told you, I'd have to kill you afterwards." So I was like, "Oh, okay. I don't want to know.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's exactly the best way to describe how it is, and that's what I've experienced. Even other people's family, because I'm like, okay, I know I've gone in people's houses and know either they dabbled in something, and even Santeria and stuff. They didn't have to be Spanish or make it known, but I'll walk by maybe certain rooms or closets, and I'm like, I kind of know what's up there, or it's in this app, something like that. But you can't just go ask it, especially in that type of religion. That's a big kind of no-no. And like you said, the cops saw what you had, what you pulled out. Even people that have been around it enough know, yeah, you know what, leave it be.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, if you want to find answers for it, you're gonna get told, well, then you got to be in it. And no,
Exactly.
I'm.
Wow.
It's like trial by fire. Well, I'm looking to stay nice and cool. I'm not looking to get a spiritual sunburn that way.
You know something? There's a guy. He's a Puerto Rican dude, and he made a video about how he left Santeria, and he was speaking about the Santeria and stuff like that, about the Botanicas, which is like a Wicca store. Okay, a Botanica is just a Wiccan store, where you could get stuff for your rituals or your practices.
Crystals and herbs and all sorts of relics.
Do you remember that guy's name? The guy that he was like.
Oh, there's a comedian. Oh. There's a comedian that came out with it.
I don't remember his name, but I can find him quickly.
Find him.
There's a comedian, and he's from New York, and he is and he does a podcast, and he talks about Santeria. His life in Santeria.
Mm-hmm.
There's one guy like that. I can't. I'll find out, but he's a comedian, and he practiced Santeria. He still kind of does. So I know there's one guy that publicly kind of came out about it and got scrutinized heavily by the community for a long time for it. And then, there was some backlash from that. I wonder if it's that guy. It's a heavyset guy.
Well,
I don't know if he's completely, I think he's Spanish or Spanish mix, this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the one we were
Joe
talking.
Something.
Sorry.
Find out. But I did watch a documentary once. What was that show? There's a TV program that does documentaries, deep type of documentaries or something. But this English guy talked to this Santero from California about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the way the guy spun it mainly was like, it's kind of just a white magic. Some people do gray. There is kind of dark, but it's kind of a good up and up thing. And it's like, no, not quite like that, And a lot of, in more recent years, Santeria has become trendy amongst celebrities, too. There's a lot of celebrities that are into.
Yes, that is true.
But it's like a trendy version of it.
Yeah.
It's not a deep Santeria I grew up with that these guys are practicing that I know of.
There was a rapper. Her name was, I think, Black Rapunzel or something. What was her name?
I have no idea.
Anyway, damn, I can't remember her name right now. She did a song called Black Rapunzel. So if you could look that up, we'll know her name. And she posted a video on, I think it was Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, I don't know. And she was like, you see this? This is chicken blood, and I'm cleaning up this chicken blood because I just did some santeria and this. And I'm like, what? You're just going to be posting that out there? There's no shame in her game,
Well, the guy that we were talking about before.
That's something you can't do. It's the same thing like with voodoo. You just don't throw it out there like that. It's not, it's not a fad. You just like, oh, look what I'm doing. To me, even Wiccan got into that. And to some degrees, it's like, oh, look, I'm Wiccan. I'm Wiccan. Like,
okay, hold on.
You don't throw it out.
Right.
Just like it's an everyday thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to find the ones that deep into it, you're going to make mad.
Right.
Yeah. You get approached with someone, oh, you really into this? Oh, yeah, come by my house. And, no. My uncle did tell me, my grandmother's son, at one point when I tried asking questions, he said, look, there are things of this you really don't want to see. What you went through is nothing. He said, you got to go all in if you want answers. However, there's a lot of issues with all in. He's like, not just what you do, but there's going to be a lot of people that are going to do to you. Whether you're the nicest one on the block or not. There's just some out there that are looking for straight up harm. And he said, and it's something you better be dedicated to really be ready.
Well,
and I kind of got the gist of that. But again, that's where the conversation stopped.
Right.
It was all one-time answers, and that's it.
Well, the Puerto Rican...
Today, I still have fear. go to someone's house and I see idols
Yes.
like that, I start getting uptight. Like, yo, I'll make up anything. Like, I gotta sweep the lawn or something. I gotta clean the gutters. You live in an apartment, you don't own the place. Well, I'm volunteering or something. When I see certain things like that, I just, for safety, I just step away, get out of there. It's been no joke. Ever
Oh,
since then, just even minor experiences have been somewhat intense. So,
if you're
but
curious,
that doll,
hmm
yeah,
if you're curious
that
into know,
doll,
the doll, yeah, the doll.
that doll to this day, I've seen similar pictures. I can't quite find, but I could, like, if I knew how to sew, I could probably recreate this thing like it was nothing.
Azalea
That
Banks.
doll is the
It's
only
Azalea
sort of
Banks.
object that really caught me as a kid because it was the only time I had that physical contact of pretty much getting hit, spiritually hit. I've been touched where I felt a hand, a tickle kind of thing, a grazing touch, but getting hit was the one thing that really, I want to say psychologically damaged me with Santeria as far as like had an intensity to like dolls of any kind. I really don't.
So that rapper that I was telling you about earlier, when you was talking about how it's being cool now and all that, her name was Azalea
Yeah.
Banks, and 3 years ago she posted a video on YouTube where she cleans a closet where she sacrifices chickens. So
Mm.
yeah, that's something.
And also, the guy that we were talking about before, the one
Mm-mm.
that is the
Yeah.
the preacher.
I was surprised by
Yeah,
one
I don't think you can
celebrity
hear
that
me.
took up Santeria. I don't know if he still does. What's that happened? Danny Glover took it up for a while. I don't know if he still does.
Oh
You
yeah, that's
know,
true.
and I was like, really, Danny Glover? I was like, wow. And then there was a few other names I've come across here and there. I don't remember right now that I'm like, yeah, what? But a lot of them are like these, trendy like Hollywood types. And for the Santeros that are looking to make money, they're not going to say, oh no, whatever. But like, a lot of them, the true ones won't bother because it's like you're making a mockery of it. Like you're saying something for you, and then yeah, like put on social media, oh look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like no,
Can you see the image
it's
on
a
the screen? Can you see the image? So
oh no.
that's her. If you're looking at the screen, that's her, and that's the closet where she sacrifices chickens, and this is her, I guess, cleaning it up with whatever she's using to clean it. But it's a video out
A
there.
power washer, I believe.
That's the thing too. I found out like you can't just like bleach it away, clean up. There's a whole process to clean up after a ritual too. That's part of the religion. It's people. That's what I learned, and even with my own stupidity of like, let me mess with a Ouija board, let me mess with this. There are ways to open it.
Yeah, I would never mess with a Ouija board. That's like not a toy. Not a toy.
I knew someone who had a sister, and she was possessed one time, and it took how many men? How many men it took to subdue her? Some cops?
It took 10 cops to
Huh?
pin her down.
It took 10 police officers to pin down this one female that we knew who was
She's
possessed.
really skinny too, by
And
the
she's
way. At
skinny,
the time,
and she's a little like she's
tiny.
5'6", 5'5", maybe 5'4".
Yeah, about 5'4".
So she's about 5'4". She weighed about like 140 pounds, and it took 10 police officers to subdue her.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said. In some ways, I mean, Hollywood overdoes it, but there's some truth to some of those things sometimes. With some of the possessions and stuff, sometimes that does come from kind of some factual basis, behind the idea, but I've seen only a few movies that really got. Serpent and the Rainbow was one that started kind of
Yes.
reminding me.
Serpent and the Rainbow.
And there was another one I think called The Believers with Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen, yep.
That dealt with like Santeria and stuff. It had Jimmy Smith in it briefly.
Yes.
For a small part in the movie, but that dealt with like a voodoo Santeria type more. And yeah, I started watching that when I was like, oh no, I'm not having flashbacks. No.
Anybody who hasn't seen these movies should really check them out. Serpent and the Rainbow, and what was the other one again?
The Believers.
Yes, The Believers.
It stars Martin Sheen.
Mm-hmm.
And Emilia's dad and stuff. Charlie's dad.
Yep.
And probably that had to be like mid '80s, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But yeah, they kind of hit. They touch a little bit more towards what is, one's more of the voodoo, the Haitian voodoo and voodoo powder part of it, and the other was like voodoo kind of Santerian aspect of it. But Serpent and the Rainbow was, another one that was just, because of where Santeria is derived from, you can see a lot of that and understand that if you've experienced it. But it still gives an idea of what it is. The only place other than Spanish countries you'll find close, but they do practice voodoo and Santeria is down in New Orleans.
Yeah. New Orleans, let me tell you. So
they practice straight voodoo down there.
Yeah. Somebody said that once you're crossing into Louisiana, that you could feel the change in the atmosphere. Just like when you said you felt the change in the atmosphere when you were in that room with the blacked out windows. You could just feel something.
Yeah.
One of the...
I've known a few people... go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing that, I've known a few people that have gone to Louisiana and nothing for for like a Mardi Gras, no spiritual, no paranormal. And they say, once they got like into that city, it was just instantly like, the city feels different, and then certain buildings, just felt
odd,
completely different. The atmosphere just, it's just something different and off. And these are people that don't whatever, but they just have told me, you know what? They can't deny that something just didn't feel quite right.
One of the most horrifying testimonies I ever heard about Santeria came from a Spanish guy, and he had a testimony. What was the guy's name? That he was in a matchbox, and that you gotta...
El Brujo de la Casilla 45. I didn't get his name. I can't remember it.
Can you hear Can you hear her? Can you hear what she's saying?
No, I can't hear.
Okay, something must be wrong with my mic.
Come over here. Use my mic. Here.
Okay, baby. I'm gonna go over there.
Just go ahead. Just lean over.
Okay, let's see.
Just lean over.
Let's see here. Okay, can you hear me now, brother?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, something must be wrong with my mic. But basically, if you look up on YouTube, El Brujo de la Casilla 45 testimony, I'm actually gonna type it out for you guys in the chat. And basically, he talks about how he traveled in a freaking matchbox or something. I'm not even lying. He was talking about transfiguration. Transfiguration.
Don't forget Daddy Yankee.
Okay.
In that house. Was it Daddy Yankee, he said?
Mm-hmm.
Or the other guy with the bald head, the other bald head rapper.
Oh, wow.
Pitbull.
Yeah.
I think he said Pitbull went to that house.
Oh, yeah?
In Puerto Rico. Remember that was
Oh, I don't remember that. Yeah. But he said the celebrities used to go to him to get witchcraft done for them and things of that nature. Like, oh my goodness.
You're cutting out a little for me. I don't know if they can hear you, but I know for me, you're cutting.
I mean, his testimony is really freaky. I'm going to tell you guys right now. He said some stuff that, honestly, some of it, I I honestly am
I
afraid.
swear, it's like this topic isn't supposed to be spoken.
I know, right? But you know what? I plead the blood
No, you're coming
because,
in choppy for me still.
oh my God,
You were
what
just.
the heck? And it's mainly when I talk because it's only my mic that got messed up.
I'm just.
I'm not
Wait,
lying to you.
Oh, okay. Swedish mom said me too. Okay, because I was wondering if it's just you and I having audio and everyone else is hearing fine.
This is just crazy. I mean, it's only my mic that's cutting off. And now I switched to his mic and it's doing the same thing. It's acting crazy. And I don't know. Something doesn't like me. But that's okay because I plead the blood. This is just crazy. But yeah, he was talking about how they would
Like no
sacrifice.
sound now.
It's better now?
When you ask, I can hear, but like anything else after asking me, can you hear
That
me now?
is
Whatever usually is it coming through?
freaky. That's crazy. I don't even know what else to think because honestly, we never had this problem before. That's crazy.
I didn't get much of that.
Holy crap. Can everybody in the chat hear me okay? I need to know if you guys are having the same problem that Jose is having.
Everyone's
hearing
saying
us.
I hear you clear. I hear both of you just fine.
Okay, so then I think it's something on your end then. So
Maybe in our connection. I don't know.
I don't know, perhaps.
Dang Optimum.
Well,
blame it on them.
This is what I'm gonna do. Can you hear me?
Oh, I found that the name of that comedian, by the way, that he's put out books and has talked about his life with Santeria and like drugs and stuff. You know, he's a really filthy mouth comedian. But if you research into him, his name is Joey Diaz.
Okay, I'll look him
up. He has a YouTube channel called The Church of What's Happening Now. But just look up Joey Diaz online and just type in like Joey Diaz Santeria, and he'll have segments then that'll lead you to YouTube. He talks about his experiences in life in Santeria. And I think he still practices quite a bit, but maybe not as in depth.
Wow. So basically this ex-witch guy was talking about how human sacrifice. He was talking about how celebrities used to go to him for services, and he was saying some pretty dark experiences that he had, including transfiguration, where he would travel in between countries in a matchbox, if you could believe it. That's what he said. I mean, I don't know about that, but that's what he said. It was so scary. That is the scariest thing I've ever heard in my life. At least one of them.
Tell them about the pot, the giant pot. Tell them about the cast iron pot.
Oh no, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to
them.
repeat that. I don't want to repeat that. I'll. You know what I'm gonna do?
Cutting out again. Sorry.
Okay, what I'm gonna do. Okay. If I'm gonna sound a little far away now. Give me a second, guys.
That was one of the most chilling testimonies I ever heard.
Yeah, that was very chilling.
He said that he went to a house and they had like a 10-foot cauldron, iron cauldron in the house, and that demons had manifested in the house, and they had infants there that to put into this 10-foot copper pot. Right? Or cast iron pot, was it? I don't know if it was copper or whatever.
It was a little girl, and she was about 4 or 5 years old.
And they were going to cook her to eat her. And he wanted to stop it. But the demons that had manifested themselves had pushed him up against the wall. And he was stuck to the wall and he couldn't move. And he just had to be there and witness the atrocities. I mean, it was more detailed, of course, but it was some of the scariest things I ever heard, like from a testimony standpoint.
It was really
Sorry,
scary.
cut out again.
He said he cut out
Last I got
again.
was going to eat her.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Okay. So go ahead.
Now I hear. When you said okay, super clear. Okay.
All right, cool. So yeah, so it was like one of the scariest testimonies I ever heard of a ex witch or santero, if you want to call it. You know, one of the there's a book called I Came to Set the Captives Free. Has anybody ever heard or read of that book?
Well,
I've heard
maybe.
the name, but that's all I've heard about it, just the name.
That book, supposedly, if you ever try to sit down and read it, you'll never get to finish it because things always happen to take you away from finishing the book.
I can personally attest to that because
I've read some things in history of stuff that people gotten too far into. Like, there's two sides even to, like, when it came to Aleister Crowley compared to, like, Anton LaVey, you know, in the Church of Satan and stuff, that there's different aspects. Like, Aleister Crowley was the one that brought in a lot of the sex rituals and actual sacrifices to even people. And then Anton LaVey, according to him and some experts, they didn't do, the official church wouldn't do Satanism because they were about, in their own sense, life preservation and all, but it was more of worshiping of self. So destroying family life stuff wouldn't lead to that legacy in a sense. But they still were involved in dark kind of rituals and things. But then when you get, so say like, you know, the fanatics or nut jobs, that's where the line gets crossed into misdoing things and stuff. So quote unquote, like kind of the nut jobs of the religions and stuff. But there have been people that are alleged Satanists that they believe were more mentally ill and took it to the, in some things I read of, like human sacrificing and saying it was the devil, this and that. Something I trying to do research is, in my belief, that sometimes, at times, paranormal experiences and I'm not saying this is to excuse mental illness and to do away as a diagnosis for official mental illnesses. I believe sometimes these experiences that mentally ill people have, that they say they hear voices and the devil made them do it, makes me wonder if it is true. Are those voices spiritual and they went mad from it, like how I thought I was going crazy as a child experiencing these things, but they're just more susceptible or got an attachment really deep, you know, and in some cases it became something like that. And then if someone was mentally ill and it became a demonic attachment, did it then drive them further to then commit horrific sort of crimes? So sometimes I think there are fine line kind of correlations that would join some of these together, but you know, the sacrificing, okay, I can see with the animals, but when it comes to other people, I do think that's kind of defeating a lot of purpose in any religion to do. You know, that's how I look at it. You know, I mean, if you go back to old, you know, even
the Old
like
Testament,
Christian religions, they sacrifice lambs, this and that. So I kind of get the animal, but sacrifice another human, I look at it like, well, you're kind of doing away with someone that could be a potential follower down the road. So why would you do that?
Right.
Yeah, you know, that's someone you could at least convert. But it takes someone that's either really deep, dark, and, you know, I won't say even got possessed or something, to then, in the name of religion, whatever, witchcraft or whatever, to sacrifice another human. That's really deep, dark level stuff. But I then question how much of that is is it mental illness that started and they got attachment, or was it an attachment that caused mental illness to then go do that? Not in all cases, but in some. You know,
Right.
and that's where I started, in much later years trying to look at, because my thoughts were, as a kid experiencing this, I must be losing my mind. I
Right.
must be crazy. There's something mentally wrong. But then, hearing enough people and stuff, it's like, okay, we can't all be crazy. There's
Right.
too many, people experiencing this. So we can't all be, that it's an extreme disorder or something. So that's just my opinion.
Wow.
Do
You have lived a life.
Do you know that on one of the album covers for the Beatles, one of the album covers, if you take off, if you underneath one of the album covers,
It's like a flap.
it's like a flap or something, and they have like doctors uniforms on, and like blood on it, and they have like baby parts, like baby doll parts and stuff. Like, what does that mean? Like, what's that about?
Some of these celebrities.
Yeah, because I don't remember the Beatles doing any songs against abortion or surgeries or something like that. So yeah, what is that? And that's, again, for that time era and with drug use and things, and they were experimenting with different religions themselves. It's like, yeah, could they have stepped into something a little dark,
Yeah, supposedly the place where they recorded a lot of their albums, supposedly that place is on a ley line or something, is a point. Ley lines are like like spiritual potent spots.
A powerful nexus.
Oh yeah. It's like how when we look on a map, we have the grid system of the equators and the longitudes and latitudes, but these are like energy versions of them, ley lines. Yeah, and they're points that line up that like famous spiritual points, hauntings and stuff, or like let's say certain paranormal kind of historically known places seem to line up on certain ley lines and stuff. Yeah. But that the place they recorded, I never knew that they may have recorded on a place like that. But a few of them, I think, were into kind of that whole aspect of spiritualism in some form. So it would kind of make sense.
Do you see the album cover I'm talking about? You see it?
Not yet. It's not on screen yet.
Oh, it's not on screen yet?
I think I have
It's a lag.
Yeah, there's a delay.
It's coming up, yeah. Oh, the Beatles yesterday and today, yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
See how they got the baby dolls and they're dressed up in the medical coats and there's blood all over the place. Like, what's that? They were into some stuff. They were definitely into some stuff.
Yeah, because they're all smiling and cheery about something that's really gruesome. And it's...
No, and look at the smile on their faces.
For a long time, they said lots of famous people could have made deals, so to say, with the devil or asked for help spiritually in that sense, dealing with things. And also, again, that's another theory. You get into heavy, hallucinogenic to psychotropic drugs. My belief is just I don't have the means or ways to do actual studies, is that all opens up the same chemical functions of the brain or spiritual centers, in my opinion. There's theories that have gone on that, like a medium, the way a medium works and those parts of the brain that activate may be similar to like when someone has vivid dreaming or clairvoyant dreams. So I'm wondering, is it possible that even psychotropic drugs, that on a physiological or chemical level will that open the same centers of the brain that a medium would use? Or again, like maybe in some mental illnesses, I don't, are those same parts of the brain activated as someone that's hallucinating use and all? But I don't think anyone's done any real in-depth study into any links or non-links between those areas.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll be honest, I was in the state growing up. I tried acid, I tried some stuff, and there were times I questioned because of past experiences, like, is this my mind just like kind of replaying certain experiences that I had? Is it just made up? Or
Mm-hmm.
am I really seeing what I'm seeing? Kind of feeling what I'm feeling.
Right.
So, and that picture by the Beatles, and they were into some heavy stuff back then as well, hallucinogenics, especially John and spiritualism and stuff. It's possible.
Yeah,
It's
it is
possible they
possible.
were.
Also, one of their album covers had a bunch of faces on it, and one of the faces was of Aleister Crowley. Yeah.
Okay,
A
that's
lot
just
of
clear
people
as
have
day.
followed in some way or studied up on Crowley. You'd be surprised how many celebrities and musicians really that weren't blatantly obvious about it were really into him. One group, I forgot, either recorded or one of them lives in one of Crowley's old homes, I believe, from one of the groups from back in the day, 60s to 70s. I think owns property, something of Crowley's. So, they kind of are a little too deep into the history of Crowley. Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath, obviously the song Mr. Crowley, and other people have gone into, looking into Crowley a little deeply. But he was the one that made Satanism the Hollywood type that everyone kind of knows of the sacrificing. He did heavy drugs and was into, bloody sex orgies and stuff like that, where I think LaVey strayed away from that, at least to the public and to a lot of people. I don't know, in the inner sanctum of his, but the official Church of Satan, for the most part on the record, by quite a few law enforcement that, when they were keeping an eye on them in their heyday, was saying, yeah, they never found any beliefs or reasons of actual human sacrifices with the Church of Satan.
Right.
And I think LaVey has even said, okay, yeah, I studied Crowley. He was kind of a basis, but a lot of what he does, we don't agree with either. So that's kind of like, mixed area. But Crowley was a madman. He seriously was for what he did and his beliefs.
He was the wickedest man alive. He called himself the wickedest man alive, the evilest man alive, the beast. That's what he called himself.
And he was proud of that title.
If you see right here, it says Abbey Road Studios. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure about this, but I think that Crowley used to live here or something before it became a studio or something. I'm not sure about the specifics.
He had quite a bit of property in the States. I think he had property in Italy. In England. Yeah, he had quite a bit of property all over. I think part of it too was because of once Wynn started catching on and stuff, he knew to move. It was just he was getting too popular, so to say. And the communities didn't like it, so I think he was run out of quite a few places, from what it seems.
Wow.
But with him, yeah, if he's doing what he did, I wouldn't be surprised if a place is extremely haunted with, the energies of what he was involved with.
Yep.
This is just way too scary.
It's just, I don't know. But I still try to read up. I watch, shows and stuff, and I'll do reading on the background of this. And, sometimes I try to, if I see anything new about, again, Santeria, trying to understand. But I've hit a dead end, and it's not something I'm pushing too much on getting to know. I'm not like in depth. That's one of the areas that I my gut instinct says, just if it's out there, read it, but leave it at that level. But everything else I'll look into. You tell me, oh, you want to go on a ghost tour? Like, look, if I can make it, heck yeah, I'll stay 24 hours.
Hey, do you see your screen? You see the Beatles album with all those people's faces on it? You see Aleister Crowley's right here.
Not yet. Oh, here it goes.
Yeah, some.
You see that?
Like conspiracy theorists too have said there was a meaning to every face picked for that album. That it all really meant something to them. Of these famous people, but on personal levels. That was something I read, but I never realized that was Crowley in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, in his book,
of all people, Crowley.
Mm-hmm.
In his book, he said.
But you know what kind of makes sense in a different standpoint to me now that I think about it? How Lennon made that famous quote that really got the Beatles in trouble, that we're more popular than Jesus. In the Church of Satan, it's about self, being above what would be God or Jesus, where you're idolizing a being, but no, in their belief, you're self-idolizing in a sense. You are your own God. So I wonder if that statement was kind of made with the basic blueprint of Satanism back then, where you are your own God, and not thinking that was kind of the clue of his statement of we're bigger than Jesus, saying that we're more popular. I wonder if that was that now that you show Crowley.
Well, it's very ironic that that guy said that we're more famous than Jesus and all of that, because there was these teenagers that they were away on some sort of missionary camp or something like that, and they said that they were fasting and praying and they were in the Holy Spirit and what have you, and they came out and they said that Jesus came and appeared to them and took them to hell, okay, on a trip of hell, a tour, so to speak, if you will. And he said, one of the guys said that they saw celebrities down there, and one of the celebrities they claimed to have seen down there was John Lennon. And so it's ironic that John Lennon was the one who said that, and that allegedly they saw him in hell. So that was pretty interesting when I heard that. He had said also, another thing that John Lennon said as well was, well, Jesus isn't coming back. He forgot about the church. And he also said they're more famous than Jesus.
So, and I don't want to put on YouTube where it'll cause feedback into my.
Are you still
almost heard?
Oh wait, are you still having problems hearing me? This is just freaky.
You're almost coming through.
This is freaky because I'm telling you, I moved to my husband's mic and you can't hear me. I moved back to my mic, you can't hear me, but you could hear him.
Any show you've done, I've never heard any issues with the mic till this. Great, I'm cursing the place.
No, it's not you. I don't even think it's you. I think it's me. You want me to? Oh no, that's the Skype call.
The little lady from the original Poltergeist, tell her come clear the house.
No, I think the issue's with me, like for reals. And the reason why I think the issue's with me.
You almost came through again.
Holy crap! He can't hear me. This is crazy. Talk to him, baby. Maybe. Oh my God, this is insane. That's creepy.
Hey, can you hear me now? I'm back on the mic. Can you hear me?
No, nothing.
Nothing?
Okay.
What's happening?
If you want to take someone else, that's fine. That's I'm saying. You don't have to keep me on.
No, we
I
don't
know
mind
it's
having you on.
frustrating.
No, we don't mind having you on at all.
Oh, okay. See, now you're kind of coming in clear.
Can you hear me now?
She was just clearing her throat. When she
Right.
clears her throat, she comes in clear.
Okay.
And at times, but once we start getting into a topic, it seems to kind of, come in and out.
Right.
I heard that clearing her throat, yeah, and I heard you say right.
Okay, so there's a delay.
There's a delay somewhere.
Yeah, ask him if he muted.
And I don't have YouTube
Testing.
playing. I muted the volume on that, so I'm hearing you through Skype.
Okay.
And Skype only. Like right now, you just moved and you're poking Robert England in the eye.
Yep. This is so weird.
So that maybe that'll gauge how much of a delay for you guys.
Okay. Well, this normally doesn't happen to us.
Yeah, it is.
But we appreciate all the stories and stuff like that. If you need to go, we understand. Tomorrow's Friday. Your kids got school. So.
Quella.
No, I still got some. I'm a night out.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been a night out till like 1:30 in the morning. Then I crash out.
We go to sleep maybe
I see
around
from Saturday. It said they said it is still around. I can hear all of you well. And what is your theory? I don't know who that's addressed to.
Yeah.
Theory on.
Tell him I'm answering.
Saturday.
Okay, Miss Daryl's gonna answer.
She's talking about. She's been saying in the chat for a minute that she feels that there's something in the airwaves that is, causing some sort of mischief, and that, and she says she can hear us all with no problem. She also said that, what is our theory?
Okay, what's our theory on what? On the album covers and the whole Beatles stuff?
I think she's talking about what's happening.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that question was to.
Okay.
Is there a delay in YouTube?
Yeah.
Maybe. Let me refresh my YouTube. Maybe I need to do that. Hold on. Get the chat back open. I mean, continue, but.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
It's still the same.
Okay. I really do think, Saturday, that, there is something that does not want us discussing this topic. I am a very spiritual person, as you said you were as well. You said that you're pagan or something. We are Christian, but no judgment here, We all know about spirituality, and we're all grown-ups here. So, it is crazy, but I really do believe that you are correct. There is something messing with the audio.
Oh, it just popped up. Yes, the audio.
Yes, and it's only me for some reason. It's only with me. And I think that my theory is that it's because of that.
You okay over there?
Yeah,
I hear you clearing your throat a lot.
She's talking. She's actually talking. You can't hear her?
No, he cannot.
No, I can't. I haven't heard anything she's
been saying.
Nothing. It's odd.
Okay, he can't hear anything you're saying.
Yeah,
that's what.
But the chat
when I've listened to you guys on YouTube, I've heard both of you loud and clear. It's only tonight with this.
Yeah, because we're talking about some pretty heavy stuff, and those entities or whatever don't really like it, right? So they're gonna make.
I think it's because I'm a pastor's daughter.
I don't think. In my opinion, it's like when you're talking and giving away too much info and stuff, or hitting any topic. It would be like any person, like, hey, shush, you're saying too much. So,
right,
it might be something like that.
It could be. You know what? I think we should take questions if anybody has for Puerto Rican. Anybody has any questions? about his experiences or anything, feel free to ask.
I've I've had other experiences, minor ones. I have some theories. I have, just things that from stupidity of testing out things and messing with stuff to just being on the sidelines there for and all.
Okay, so how about some of your theories? That those sound interesting.
Well, one is like what I had just mentioned earlier, that I believe that sometimes with spiritual there is science that can back it up either way and all. That I believe a study should be done. Whether blind studies and stuff. You have blind subjects and actual known subjects of. First, test out the physiological, the chemical actions of the brain, which we're still learning, but we can measure some things. Brain activity of a reputable, let's say, medium, a psychic, and what they do, a clairvoyant, and compare notes to, you know, someone that's just having an alleged run-of-the-mill paranormal experience, like just experiencing a haunting, not seeking it out, stuff like that. Someone that's on a psychotropic kind of drug or drug that can induce kind of, hallucinations, auditory, visual, stuff like that. And then someone that's mentally ill with some characteristics that could kind of fit into the other ones. Let's say someone that swears they've seen things, but they're classified as mentally ill, and compare those notes. Because I believe somewhere in the brain, like dream studies and stuff, that my theory is there's a possibility that certain centers or signals or parts of the brain may activate close to many of those areas to each other. Say someone that has a vivid dream, some parts of the brain and the signals and the impulses that go off there or the chemicals released, and my theory is we may find is similar to someone that's on a hallucinogenic. You may have where a really gifted and at least credible psychic medium being in tune to something may get involved similar readings to, those two. Now, mental illness is a little trickier, but we've used some cases and people, where they weren't harmful, but like people that say they hear voices and stuff and things like that, and see if those parts of the brain are active just like the other three. I believe that somewhere in the brain we've got to there's got to be a connection. I mean, in more pleasant religions, you have use of drug use in many situations, but also odd coincidences of these premonitions or these shamanic trips and things that seem to kind of be true and correlate with other experiences or similar experiences even around the world where people are not doing any sort of hallucinogenic or drug. So in my mind, that to me, that there has to be something that can be proven even in a scientific manner that it's happening, that people that are having paranormal experiences are can somewhat be validated to to these experiences in other forms. So if someone's taking a drug and they're having a so-called bad trip, saying, "Oh my God, I'm seeing demons and spirits and stuff," and I think we'll get closer to a spiritual explanation in a scientific manner by doing these studies, doing the blind study and doing where patients that know and see where that leads. I believe this connection. My personal belief is science is still man-made. It's a man-made thought. We put a title to things to make sense of it. Religion is just a more feeling aspect of it. But a lot of these things do make sense across many cultures. They cannot all be wrong on every single thing.
Right.
And the way technology goes and the way we're getting strides, Why does it have to be separate? Where scientists are saying there's no such thing as God or the psychic, this and but there's plenty of people that have had over centuries no form of social media, no form of contacting each other, having similar experiences. Something's up. Something has been happening for thousands of years. So let's put some science. Why can't you, as a science curiosity of science and as scientists go, well, I want to find out why these people are legitimately having these experiences. I think there are connections, and that will get us closer to understanding, the study of the soul, the study of, the mind, body, and spirit, and how it relates. You have monks that can control aspects of their bodies through meditation. There's been Tibetan monks and stuff like that can Buddhist monks that can change their body temperature within minutes to superheat or to go in a state of almost into I can't think like almost like just a state of being near dead, but
Right.
they're in full control of it. So if it's mind over body, who's to say the spiritual aspect that a lot of people experience isn't still connected with the mind as well? A lot of these experiences translate into thoughts, into feelings, mental images. So why has no one on either side said, let's take a look at this? That person that's experiencing poltergeist and all this is legit, where the scientists can come in and we have data to back it. What is this fear? What is this, anti against each other? I believe that's one area of study that will link a lot of both sides. It's just someone has to do it.
Someone
And
has to make
in my opinion,
Yep.
sometimes the people, and I think that opens some, not all, but maybe some explanations that people were misdiagnosed with mental illnesses, that maybe they are experiencing certain things, but they got so lost in the questioning of it in their mind of thinking they're going crazy, they actually went crazy. And then for the ones that believe there are spiritual attachments that can make it further, for that side, the paranormal parapsychology side, they can then look into that. Because they do ask, oh, does anyone suffer mental illness? And they're almost quick to write it off.
Right.
What if it's a medium of both? A cause and effect to each other.
Mm-hmm. It could be.
I just, there's some that's always lingered in me, that there's more to it that we're just not looking into. Because and I'm telling you from a person that suffered with depression and anxiety, that I question a lot of my sanity when I've had these experiences. Like, oh my God, is there something really wrong with me? But I know without a doubt I've seen and experienced and felt these things. And then, boom, people across the world that I've never met are telling similar stories. Okay, but I know I heard things that if I went and told the doctor, yeah, you know what, I saw a ghost on a constant basis, where I heard voices, spiritual voices, what's the first thing they're going to do? Put me away somewhere as a mental illness. Why? Who's, to say it's not possibly happening? I think that's too narrow-minded. So I think further study on both sides needs to be done and see. And then once we can start getting that, we start making better connections of our spiritual selves as well. You can't tell us thousands of years, all these different civilizations and beliefs were all wrong and crazy.
Right.
From Native Americans to, tribes in Africa to, the Buddhists. You can't say that their versions of shamans were all charlatans or nut jobs.
Yeah, they had something in common.
It's just
something in common.
That they're tapping into something. And a lot of them, you hear they did take something to enhance that experience. So right there, my thing is, okay, so some type of natural drug or something they took it was psychotropic, to enhance it, is releasing something on a chemical level to enhance it. They're opening more of a actual physical gateway leading into the spiritual. So in my mind, that's a link there. But then I've heard aspects of and friends that were diagnosed with severe mental illnesses that swear up and down they heard voices, but it wasn't for harm. It was voices of like past ones or things they saw, but they were labeled as schizophrenic, this and that, where they always thought, I'm not crazy, I'm not schizophrenic. But that was the automatic label for them expressing what they experienced. So they shut down. They don't talk about it no more.
They
So
say
who's
that
to say that part of their experience?
the greatest lie is
Right.
that he never existed, right? Right? That's the greatest lie or
Yes.
something. So the Prince of Lies,
Yeah.
and that's what he does. He confuses people. He uses other people to confuse people, and nobody knows what to believe anymore. So he has it right where he wants it.
Because if you also take another aspect, some of the deepest and kindest spiritual people were deeply into their religion on a spiritual level, and for kindness and stuff, and they deeply believed. And what harm did they do? So it's not all harm. It's not all scary. In the belief systems. So this combat we have between science and man bothers me a lot. I think we were meant to progress that way, but somewhere along the road, no, we just started opposing ourselves. But I also believe, well, in a religious aspect, God put man here. They became scientists for a reason, this and that. So maybe we seek answers. What's the meaning of life and stuff? We could be answering it for ourselves, and that might be the purpose. But ain't no one's everyone's too busy fighting about what it is. My belief is like, okay, could something like Bigfoot exist? Yeah. That's something in my mind, that's a missing link. Then you have the ones that, religious people, well, God created man in his own image, there wouldn't be evolution, but technically we've had forms of evolution through the animal kingdom. We found fossils, we found DNA that shows animals have evolved from thousands of years ago to now. Just like people, in some aspects, if you think about it, evolved as humans from over centuries to adapt to their environment.
Yes, indeed.
Mongolians came over through the land bridge, which led to the Eskimos. And the Eskimos came down into Native Americans, but they adapted from where they live. So that's a form of evolution. They evolved. I think we get too much into the wrong aspects of things like that. So who's to say God didn't create man at one point and then kicked out of out of the garden and that, and then one day became fruitful, multiplied, and spread across the earth. The body had to change with it, along with the animals. So who's to say both sides aren't right? But we're too busy about
Fighting.
yeah, we're too busy with the fight of being right than looking at, hey, we might both be right.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of this for me with the paranormal is, trying to find almost simplified answers in front of us that might actually just be there. It's just I don't have the funding or know the right people to
It's
start
funny you
that
should
type.
say that, Joe, because I like to say a lot of times that there's no reason why science and faith should collide, for the simple reason that science is the scope by which we can understand the extent of God's creation. Science is what we can use to examine what God has done. The problem is that both sides don't want to secede anything. Science can tell us how something happened, but it can never tell us why. And that is the problem. That is the divide between science and faith and spirituality, what have you, whatever. See, science can tell us that people die and how they died, but they cannot tell us why. They can't even tell us why we sleep. Okay, so and then on the other side you have the same thing. On the other side of the scope, and I know because I've been in church since I was a little girl, you know that a lot of times they just we as people of faith close up to science because a lot of times, you know, they are kind of, you know, sketchy, especially concerning medicine and all. Well, that's the story for another day. But they are a little sketchy, so what we do, we close up. So if both sides close up and there's nobody willing to meet in the middle, how is there ever going to be, you know, a real answers? There's never going to be real answers because it's just like it's us versus them, and it just gets so convoluted and stupid.
Exactly, and then that's the thing. There's not enough people looking, trying to find the middle ground of that. Where I think, in my mind at least, it can coexist, and it does explain for each other. Like you said, science explains, how it happened, what or why, but where spiritual can then answer the missing gaps. And with finding these type of studies, you start filling in that space. You start looking, and that creates a whole new avenue to go, oh, wait, okay. For curiosity's sake, in a scientific mind, because real scientists are always curious, why not look into it? Why, it's a step further. You've hit, the top of it, like, okay, there's this, and this. Now what? Well, we'll just review this a million times. Why? But then I go back down to the argument of people forget even science is a man-made title of things. We had to say something in it way back in infancy of science to alchemy and stuff. It's all theory, in a sense. Time itself is a man-made thing, so it's still a belief system. Okay, two different beliefs, but there's got to be a joining because early civilizations ran on some form of science, but also coexisted to a degree on a spiritual aspect. But somewhat, it just, I don't know if it was more with the industrialization of humans that it really took off into separate avenues, but there's a point that it, in my opinion, was starting to make progress.
Okay, you know that Hitler, he believed in the supernatural and the occult. He even had a regiment, or not even a regiment, like he had a group of people who would scour the planet looking for, artifacts or anything that he deemed to have power or any sort of, from the supernatural or paranormal side or whatever. So these people do believe in the supernatural. Let's not get it twisted. The higher ups, the monarchy, the elites, and all that, they do believe in the supernatural. But the thing is, they follow. You know who they follow and who they worship and who they serve, and they keep trying to find ways to connect even deeper with said entity. Okay, that's why they go and they invent things like hydrogen colliders, because they really want to usher in this Armageddon, or they want to open up dimensions and portals beyond our scope through these scientifical machines. And there's one now, and when they opened it, they did this big like ceremony in these huge cavernous tunnels or whatever.
Yes, I think I know. Yeah, they created a miniature Big Bang
Yes,
or something
yes,
like that.
yes. Even recently, maybe a few weeks ago or a couple of months ago, they reported to have found a new molecule or particle or something like that it's not known to humankind yet. So they are making some sort of progress in that area. And the problem is, once they do achieve their goal, what's going to happen to the rest of us if they do manage to open portals to different dimensions? Like, what can come in through these portals? To what end
There
are
goes
they
the
doing
stream
this?
health. There
You
goes the
know?
stream health going down.
See, I grew up with the Santeria aspect and experiences, but not as in a religious form, just experiences. But I was basically raised born again. But I always had some conflicts with some of the explanations and some of the things, and got the standard answers and the standard shutdowns, or no answers and stuff. But going through my experiences, went through that, and that led me to other things like with science and questioning some things of science, or saying it's possible. Um, so yeah, it makes me wonder. Like, okay, with science, we're looking into these areas in a sly way, sneaky way. But yeah, what happens when you do open?
Exactly what
Something.
happens.
Um,
The technology
well,
that
what's
they're
next?
the technology that they're messing with is multiple fronts. You got the thing that we just mentioned with the mini Big Bang and the collider, but they're also trying to merge humans or animals with technology as well. Because I remember a couple of months ago, I believe, I saw an article where they have a rat, and they exposed his brain, and they attached like some sort of microchip or something to the brain of the rat in order to control it. And so that's where we're heading.
succeeded.
We're heading towards, being implanted with things. We're heading towards being, how can I say, even subjugated more than we are
A
now.
Terminator future,
Even more subjugated than we are
almost
now.
like a Terminator future.
What?
This, see, when I looked into the paranormal, I always tried to keep some of my religious background into it as well, because a lot of it is based in religions. A lot of these experiences and happenings have happened around some sort of religious aspect, depending on the culture. It was a strong part of early cultures as well. And I started questioning things, like the whole, even looking back at the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament. One for me, I've always had the question. I've read up other things, like we go by New Testament King James Version, and that term. Once I understand the term version as I got older, I'm like, why is it that version? And I read up on that. But even I think we mistook as people things sometimes a little too literal. Like when I say like God created man in his image, I think people took it as the word image in his image as in like how God should look. But if you look up definition of image, there's a few definitions. It's your thought, what you view it as, what your perception of. So what does it mean that like God saw his image? Okay, not how he looked. I think it's meant more as, how he thought man should look. Not how we think we look to, as him.
It's true.
And yet we have all these other planets, we're finding other things that if you get into, let's say, the UFO realm and other stuff like that, how they found through similarities of ancient, like what they say, ancient UFOs and stuff. Who's to say other life wasn't created elsewhere? It was just man that developed a certain way and the aspect, and certain things we were enlightened to. But that's not to say that it wasn't, that who's to say God didn't create elsewhere? There's nothing that says that he technically didn't. We're just looking at Earth, us people. But yet we kind of hint that he created all this other stuff. Then there's the old argument of, well, okay, where do the dinosaurs fit in? It wasn't mentioned in the Bible. But you look at the book of Numbers, that spans over, Lord, however many thousands of years. of offspring. It just says he had of and they had of. But how long was that process? That could have been another 5,000 years of that, 10,000, from the old to new, because from Adam and Eve till more present times in the Bible, there's a gap missing. So
Right.
how many years was they never took that calculation of, well, how many exact generations are we talking over what span? You're going to tell me two people then had, father 40,000? Well, that had to take a long time in that bloodline to reach kind of that and keep going and going of another 140. It's like any.
Oh, fantastic.
Um, there is mention of giants and things like that. There is a theory behind that, a biblical Christian theory.
As far as the dinosaurs go, there
There is a
is a
theory.
theory. It mentions in the Bible something about giants, or was it giant creatures or something? What was it?
Well, okay. This is what I was told. Um, according to my mother, who's a pastor, and they went to Biblical Institute and they dove really, really deep into all these subjects that we're speaking about right now, actually. So when it came to the dinosaurs, this is what she says, okay? And this is what is being taught in the church, that God, in fact, did create dinosaurs. They did really exist. This is the thing. You see in the beginning where the Bible says, and in the beginning God created heavens and the earth and all that stuff. We know how that went. Okay? But there is a big gap between verse 1 and verse 2. That could account from when the dinosaurs existed. There's a lot of people who believe that there was a big that in that gap between verse 1 and 2, a lot of things came along, including dinosaurs and all the millions of millennia of years that the earth have been in existence. And with the whole carbon dating thing, we know the earth is very, 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 very old, but a lot of Christians don't realize that between verse 1 and 2 of the very first book of the Bible, there is a huge gap there. It doesn't mean that they happen back to back. It means there could have been a space there, and that is where we believe that the dinosaurs came in and existed. Something did kill them. In fact, we dinosaurs existed. We have lots of forensic evidence to that fact. Any Christian who would deny that, well, then they're not very smart, and they don't read the Bible properly, because a lot of times that's the problem. People do not read the Bible properly. They really just listen to what is told to them rather than investigating themselves.
Yeah, like when he said the image. Oh God,
Oh, okay, yes, and I also believe somewhat of what you were talking about, how he thought we should look, but also when God says He created us in His image, also, His image is not just the way that He looks, because nobody's ever seen Him, but His image also is personality, how He is, how He thinks. Think about the Trinity, for example. The Trinity is three, right, in one, allegedly, but that just shows that God Himself gets lonely. He couldn't be alone, okay, because He is a trine God. So therefore, it's like us. We have body, soul, and spirit. Same thing. That's three right there. Husband, wife, and seed. Three things. A book, what do you have? You have the spine of the book, which keeps the book together. You have the pages, and you have the cover. It's always three. The egg. It could just keep going. All right? Why? Because He is a God of feelings and emotions, and we are, His creation, and we are like Him in that sense, that we act like Him. We think like Him, sort of, a little bit. And that is the reason why a lot of people don't get that whole made in His image thing. It doesn't necessarily mean the way we look, because women and men sort of look a little different, don't they? They have different body parts. So then which one does God have? Neither.
Simon and Garfunkel had a record called Three's the Magic Number. So they must know something, you ever heard that song? Three's the
It
Magic
did enough in
Number.
66 to reach that point. Yeah.
But yeah, so where I think
Maybe.
we're heading, where I think we're heading is, besides the hydrogen, besides looking into other dimensions with their machines, and besides putting microchips into mice and rats, they're also trying to, be able to put your memories right into a machine, because their end game also is to live forever, eternal life. They want eternal life, so they're also putting their efforts into how can we do it. We can't. That's why Walt Disney supposedly is frozen, cryogenically frozen, waiting for the day that science has achieved the miracle of being able to resuscitate the dead. Because that's what they all want, eternal life. But they don't understand that the key to the eternal life isn't through science, but through the one true. So.
But yeah, I agree with that, and that was where I was kind of going with the religious aspect, as far as like, there's gaps, and I think when we talk about Cro-Magnon man and Neolithic man and stuff or whatever, I think, in my opinion, is that's the gap that Numbers falls into. That those are the generations of man evolving in that sense into what would be modern day. But both sides kind of put that down in some way, and that's where I think it's both right. Because there's gaps, and who's to say that again that time period? We're just giving numbers, and nothing saying, well, how long are those numbers? From when is the exact starting point to that ending point of that? All of a sudden, we jump into another book and into something else. So who's to say that there wasn't an evolution of man to further to grow and to change and to do that? And though that's what I was saying, with the other thing, there's a connection that I think was always there, but no one's studying or looking into it and really looking like, hey, it's kind of been in front of us. We need to look at it. And that's when I think is our next stage of evolution, when we start realistically being able to understand that the two are cohesive if we really allow it to be. They're both worlds, where the spiritual and the physical. But of course, we, as you were saying, with the technological, we're pushing towards the wrong boundaries.
Yes, indeed.
We're cheating, skipping and cheating a lot.
Yeah, that is true. They are doing that. Let me ask you this: do you know about the Book of Enoch?
It's been a while. It's been a while. I'm not too familiar. It's been a while since reading some of the Bibles, but probably if you speak about it, it'll refresh my memory.
The reason I asked that, because do you remember a few years ago when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls? The Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay. The reason I bring that up is because I believe that a lot of things were taken out of the Bible. I believe that a lot of things were omitted. I believe that there are hidden books and pages of the Bible, things that they don't want us to know. Because you see, knowledge is power, and when you read, you gain knowledge and you gain power. Tell about the Book of Enoch.
Oh yeah. The Book of Enoch. Basically, there's a lot to this. It's like a whole nother rabbit hole. But basically, yeah, God did say that He was going to preserve His word, and if you know anything about the Bible, you know that a handful of people decided how many books were going and which books those were. Enoch was supposed to be in the Bible, but for some reason, they took that book out. Okay, and allegedly there was also books written by Jesus, Mary, his mother, and even Mary, the ex prostitute, the ex,
Magdalene.
Mary Magdalene, yes, Mary Magdalene, and it just goes on and on and on, and there is one thing that I do say, I'll give you an example. Of how they've tampered with the Bible. All right. And that's why, yeah. Oh no, that's a good one. That's a good one. And this is why I always believe you should always be studying, always be reading, always be in prayer and seeking knowledge and wisdom. Because check this out. Thou shalt not kill. Let's see that one text right there. In the original text, it's do you know that it's not thou shalt not kill? Is thou shalt not murder. And there is a difference, okay? That goes into the whole gun debate, though, because it says that, thou shalt not murder, not thou shalt not kill. And you know why? Because if a man is caught in your house and he loses his life, okay, because he got caught by the man of the house or whatever, and he dies and blood is spilled, there's no judgment against him. Okay, this is in the Bible, okay? So it's okay
Yeah,
for
it's
you
a
to defend
righteous
yourself
cause.
and it's okay for you to defend yourself and your family. So why is it that Christians are so anti-gun? Think about it. Yeah, let's not get into that. But then I'll give you an even better one. The whole argument about cannabis. I could speak about that. How, for example, I'll give you an example. Oh, it's evil, it's the devil's grass, whatever the heck they want to say, right? But how many Christians go into a church and see if you will not see people dying of diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and what do they all take of this? They all take drugs from let's check this out. They all take drugs from the supposed quote unquote doctor, right? All right. So everybody in the church is dying of one disease or the other, high on some pill or the other. Yet the Bible says, "Do not harm your body." Okay. Now, how many bodies has weed ever harmed? None. It's never killed anybody. How many bodies have Tylenol claimed? Oh, millions. Advil kills people, heart attacks, aneurysms and the whole nine, and many, many, many other drugs within the pharmaceutical community. What I think is that the pharmaceutical industry has infiltrated the church, okay, and demonized weed, but it's okay for you to take drugs from a doctor.
And drink alcohol is fine.
Oh, okay. No, not really, actually. Not even. If you drink, forget it. You're going to hell. That's what they say. You know what I mean? But this is crazy. Now, I'm about to take you deeper. Your head's about to explode. Your head's about to
Drinking
explode.
alcohol is bad, but you could drink wine only for certain religious reason. That doesn't. You're still technically, in that aspect, you're still drinking alcohol. So it kind of doesn't make sense. It's a contradiction.
Yeah, I know it doesn't. But okay, now check this out, because I'm about to blow your brain right now. Okay. Did you know that cannabis was used in the desert by Moses, okay, and the Israelites? Did you know that? Did you know that one of the that in the sacrifice of the tabernacle in the desert, okay, when Moses was with God's people after he had freed them out of Egypt, okay, if you look there was a series of aromatic herbs. There was series of different spices that were put together. You know which one was one of them? Cannabis. And it said that the smoke ascended up to heaven and God was pleased with the smell. Now I'm going to go and take it even deeper for you. Genesis 1:29 says, "And I have given you all forms of seed-bearing plants so that they can be for you as meat." Well, is weed not a plant with seeds? Okay, so that's another one. So they took God's medicine that he gave us, demonized it, and gave us what? Pharmaceuticals, which comes from the word pharmakia, the ancient Greek word pharmakia, which means potion. Now, what does that mean? Your doctor is your warlock, and your pharmacist is your drug dealer. Okay? And yet you're sitting there preaching against something that God created. Do you realize how many diseases weed cures? You're sitting there talking against something that God created, but accepting something that's man-made that will actually kill you.
And those commercials, if you take this, you're gonna be having diarrhea, heart palpitations, your big toe might explode, things like that. You hear it all the time on those commercials for medicines. You know what I'm saying? You might see
but
elephants, right?
once you get those side effects, you got to take some another pill for that side effect, for the new side effect. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
No,
And
my
these are
favorite
all
one,
impurities,
Jose.
chemically made. And
Favorite one, thoughts of suicide. Now let's think about that for a second.
Yeah, if you have thoughts of suicide, contact your doctor.
Unbelievable. The ignorance. I tell you. You know something? This is the reason why a lot of people can't come to the Lord. This is the reason why a lot of people do not respect the church. Because not only do they not practice what they preach, and I'm ashamed to say it because, yes, I am a Christian and yes, I do believe. But you know something? Because if you don't read what you're preaching and if you don't pay attention to what you're saying, you lose. You're gonna lose souls. Okay? It's incredible.
exactly. I
Ignorance.
mean,
Look, the Bible clearly,
you are 100% correct on that.
yeah, it clearly says God's people perish due to the lack of knowledge. And what are we seeing? People dying, drinking this poison, taking all these pills, all these drugs, pharmakia, okay? Due to
Don't do it.
the lack of knowledge. And what is that knowledge? Start reading. Look into things. Don't just believe what you are told. Okay? I don't know, I guess. What was that, baby? Hold on a second. I'm sorry. So go ahead. Yeah, go. Jose.
Sorry. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that, and that's why, like I said, with this, I try to be the best way I try to be. I can describe is a very open-minded Christian. But the
Mm-hmm.
fact that there's too many similarities and things, as long as you're not doing something that's causing and leading to direct harm, I'm open for it. For a lot of the religions that are preaching at least being kind and good to each other, that's what it's meant to be. But I've even encountered within the church. I haven't found a church for myself yet personally because I've encountered, the whisperings,
Yeah.
the judgments,
Yeah.
the hypocrisy of that. And I'm not for
Yeah.
that.
I can't go
Look,
to
I'm
church
not
for
a
the same
Christian.
reason.
I'm not there.
Yeah.
Even when I was back really working and making halfway decent money, I wasn't there to show off what I wore, show off what
Mm-hmm.
jewelry I had, and compete how much I can give on the plate just to one up someone.
Mm.
No. And then, like, oh, great, welcome, welcome. We're welcoming church. Then the minute you turn your back, you hear the whisper. Like, no, that's not what it's supposed to be. And that's where, like I said, paranormal, I try to be open, but I'm finding that balance. I guess trying to find the answers through both kind of beliefs with that.
Child,
And I
I
look
am
through.
not welcome. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am not welcome in any church because
Mhm,
the second I go, the first thing they tell you is come as you
mhm,
are, right? Then after that, you
mhm.
come as you are, all right? But they expect you to change. Okay. I suppose
Yeah.
if you're gonna be a more spiritual person, there will be a change, but when those changes are superficial, okay, and
Mhm,
not inside for real, then they don't matter.
mhm,
For example, I'll give you an example. Churches like, you know, Pentecostal, okay, because that's where I grew up, that's where I
mhm,
came from, okay. Well, women
mhm,
can't wear pants. Well, do you know that pants were invented for women? It was actually invented by the Persians because the
mhm,
king wanted something to cover his queen more, better. Okay? So if you come to
mhm,
look at it, every man that's wearing pants is going to hell because it's really women's clothing, it's not men's clothing. And guess what?
mhm,
Jesus wore a skirt. All right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is where I cannot
Yeah.
reconcile what I read, what I know, and then what you're preaching to me. You know what I mean? This is why I'm like, no, I gotta go. I can't be here because I'll stir up trouble. I'll start speaking, and for some reason, when I speak, there's always trouble. You know, I mean, tonight is proof.
That,
You
that
can barely hear me.
that's what that caused a falling out with me and my father. My father was a deacon for many years of a church,
There you
and
go.
after a while, I started questioning everything coming at him. He didn't like it. He couldn't come up with the two great answers. It was all stereotypical, and I kept coming at him, and we stopped talking for years over that. And then we kind of agreed. You know what? Obviously, our different views on religion is not a good topic. Let's enjoy each other and try to do it that way, especially
Yeah.
when, I gave him his first grandchild. So it was like,
Oh no,
okay,
my parents don't bother. They don't bother with me because they say that I'm like the devil, that I know the Bible from front to back. I'm like, okay, thank you, God bless you. Because
yeah.
so I'm being compared to the devil now because I know the Bible. Isn't that something?
Mm.
Isn't it scary that the devil knows the Bible better than you guys? Like you should be ashamed. Is what I say. That's my answer. So I
Well,
just stick to like
well,
what you said. Yeah, go ahead.
this this is part of it just reminded me of some too with like the church and some of the hypocrisy and why I'm open minded and I kind of give some leniency with certain aspects of paranormal and looking into it and stuff like that. When I started reading up and my mom found out, she was like, "Oh yeah, you're doing the devil's work and all." I said, "Well, if I was a pastor and a true preacher, I would have to know my enemies. So I would have to learn about the devil and his workers and stuff. So studying it in itself does not make it inherently evil. If I'm putting those things into a practice or something, then maybe I said,
Yeah.
otherwise, no. Learning about it is just
It's
strengthening.
the fear of
And that was a big
knowledge.
argument I had.
Okay? It's the fear
Exactly,
of
you're right.
knowledge. Because knowledge is power. It's absolute
Mm.
power. And this is why they don't want us to know. And they go all out of their way to make sure that we're not getting along, that none of us agree on anything. Because the second we seek knowledge, look what happens. For example, I'll give you another example, feminism, okay? Now, I have nothing against girl power, okay? I have nothing against, you know, women being equal to men. I don't have anything against that. I'm a female, okay? For crying out loud, I'm a female, okay? So, yeah, I'm all for that. But when you start to demonize all men, and when you start to, um, if how do you call that? Demasculate men.
Emasculate.
Emasculate men. All for the cause and for the sake of feminism. Something's wrong. Either you want equality or you don't. See what I'm saying? All right, and then.
As a single dad, I've gotten the brunt and
Mm-hmm.
a ludicrous brunt from feminists and friends that became feminists.
I don't
Single
mean
parent,
it's
single
really
mother
retarded.
feminists. And
Me,
I've
pardon my
gotten the
French. I
brunt
didn't mean
end
to
for
say
being
that,
a
but
single,
yeah, it's crazy. It's
you
really
know.
crazy. It's counterproductive. People
I mean,
perish.
I was told by one, I was told by one, being a
Mm-hmm.
single dad, that I need to find a woman because my son needs a woman who can nurture him because a man can't. But then
What?
I said, wait a minute. So I'm just to what? So you tell me, find a
So
woman
every single
because I
mother
can't nurture
should
my
find
son.
a man so that their child can be well rounded if that's the
Hmm.
case. If that's the
But
case.
I was arguing, yeah, I didn't even think of that aspect, but I was like, so I'm just to hook up with a woman to be a mom? Is kind of, you know, being a pig about my thought? I said,
That's
well, what
being
about that? And if I can't nurture and raise my child, then who's staying home and watching the child? Because a
well,
woman shouldn't be barefoot. in the kitchen, that whole aspect. But I can't be home to watch my son and raise, but I should be doing my part. I said, so I threw every argument before they could start, and yeah, it made no sense.
That
I
makes no
said, so
sense.
if I don't, I'm not going to hook up because my kid needs a mother. That don't make it right,
No, it
you
doesn't.
know.
Then you're using her. If that's the case,
Yeah,
you'll be
and
using
and,
that
and
woman.
that standard, that's wrong. By the extreme part of feminism, that's wrong to do. So how you tell me one thing, but then what? You're gonna
Practice
now I'm
another.
wrong.
It's the
Yeah.
hypocrisy. The
hmm
hypocrisy. It's insanity. I'm
hmm
like,
And
what the
that's what I
hell?
found with this. When I studied, yeah, religion, paranormal, it's these hypocrisies back and forth
Hmm.
through life itself. And I learned, you know what, just be open minded. Look at the connections
Hmm.
between it all. So that's why I've taken some studies of paranormal, demonology,
Hmm.
spiritualism to religion and tried finding the common ground. And these are some of the theories that I think we kind of, in my opinion, need to look at.
Honestly,
And
the
through,
only thing that I would say that you need to be careful that you do always is pray.
oh,
Because
I do,
just make sure of
I
that.
do.
Other than that, study whatever the hell you want because they want to keep this knowledge away from us. They don't want us to know. They don't want women and men to get along. They don't want blacks and whites to get along. They don't want people of different religion talking openly and respectfully to each other. They don't want people who are faith leaning, who are spiritual, talking too openly or too friendly with people who are more science based. They don't want no middle ground. What they want is all of us at each other's throat. Why? So they can do whatever they want with their little hydrogen colliders and all the other crap that they want to be throwing at us. I mean, what do you think 5G is about? Okay, mind control. These people are
It,
crazy.
my, my, my biggest thing is the more we advance as humans, the further behind we're falling. And
Yes.
the best example was the Y2K bug. If that actually happened, we'd be back to the Amish. They would have
Yeah.
been the only ones to save us. Why? Because
Yeah.
they weren't relying on it. And think about it. Do
Hmm.
you know how to survive fully off the land and build a house within days? I don't.
Not
You
days.
could
I
get an
don't think
army
anybody
ranger,
could
but
do
you're
that.
gonna
But I can. I
to
do have
till a
some.
field.
Hmm. We do have
But would you be able,
some.
in the long term, like in
Yeah.
other countries and these people that have lived off the land? I wouldn't be able to do it in long term. That people are still doing it today. So when that would have happened, and we're all reliant on everything around us, and we've been made so, we'd be thrown back in a sense like in the Stone Age, and the Amish should be sitting there, aha, we're the ones laughing now.
Well,
Basically.
personally, yeah, personally, we do study bushcraft. We do look into things, survivals and things like that. So we are prepared if need be. But um, the majority of the population is not. There's a real good documentary that I saw called Blackout. Okay, they have an American version and they also have a European version, and it's called
Mm,
Blackout, and it's all about what exactly the title says, a blackout. There is a blackout all over the country, and people just start losing their shiznit, and
mm,
just chaos and anarchy just breaks out, and it shows the real nature of human thought process, of human nature, the truth of how we would
mm.
actually react. But it looks like, Jose, like we only have two viewers, and that's you and us. Somebody got
Yeah.
tired,
All right.
but I
That's fine.
understand. We're long winded.
No, it's okay. We can
Ask him if he'd like
continue
to come
having
on in the
another
future.
night. That's fine.
Ask him if he'd like to
I
come on
do
in the
gotta be up
future.
in a little while for a little man, so no
That is
worries.
what I was going to
But
ask
I
you
will tell you,
next. That's what I was going to
I'm gonna
ask you
tell you another
next.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, on religious topic, I do have a prophetic dream. I maybe not prophetic, but I had a very and it reoccurs every so often. I mean, vivid, spiritually horrifying
No, don't tell me. Don't tell me
dream, but
anymore.
on
Don't tell me
no,
anymore.
no,
I
no,
want you
but
to save it.
it's on a godly level, that type
Yeah.
of spiritual. This is
No,
the
no, no.
other end.
I
So
want you to
another
tell me.
time,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I want you to save that for next time, brother.
Yes, yes, because you're a very interesting
no,
person and
that's
you
what I'm
have a lot
saying.
of good stuff to say.
Another time, I will. That's something I do want to tell you about for another time because
Yes.
it was it's a deep thing that kept me back on that got me back on track with with going the right way of things. It did,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when my studies I was starting to head down that dark road and it's
Yeah.
snapped me back quick.
Wow.
So
Oh yeah,
that'll
we're
be another
definitely gonna
time for
have you
sure.
back on in the future because you're a very interesting person. You're smart and you have a lot of good things to say. So we want to know.
He speaks well,
Yeah, you speak well as well. You're
I'm
not
the trivial
crazy.
pursuit of senseless knowledge.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, we can get better mic situations going on next time. Maybe we won't have as many interruptions. But hey,
Wait
thank
a
you
minute.
for.
No. Nothing's wrong with my mic. This is a $150 microphone. Ain't nothing wrong with the microphone.
No, I'm
It's
not
probably the
saying.
programs or something.
I'm not saying the mic per se. I'm saying the mic
It
situation.
might be my computer too that we're not
I
just
mean the audio.
it's not connecting. So
The audio
Are
system.
you on
you
a
know.
laptop?
But anyway, no, I'm on a desktop PC, but it's a little older. I gotta update a lot of things. Like actually, I gotta upgrade the PC itself.
Okay, I
I'm
see.
gonna look this summer into my own like actual laptop to replace this. So I'll be updated a little bit
Mm-hmm.
better by the end
Sure.
of July.
Yeah, well,
So,
absolutely. Listen, Jose, we are so grateful that you stopped by. This has been amazing. Like, it has really, really uh, given us a lot of content. Yeah, your history with
thank you.
Santeria was crazy. I'm telling you, it was creepy. It could rate the hair of a cat. So we really appreciate everything that you said and your testimonies and your
Well, I
background. Like,
appreciate you guys for uh, having me on and
no problem.
ramble off and stuff. And hey,
We're gonna do
if
this
you
again.
guys want to take what, oh, I would love to do it again. And if you guys, since you guys you can do it better, I would love to have you guys kind of do your own version of that Santeria experience with the doll or something
Oh, okay.
into some for content for you guys because
Yeah,
I don't
sure,
know how
sure,
to get it out
absolutely.
there. So it'd be an honor for you guys to just take it, run with it. You
Cool.
know,
Yeah, we'll tell your
whether
story. We will
take some
narrate
of
the
it,
crap out of
take
that. That's for
it's
sure. You just send it to
not
us
even
like in
narrative. You
writing, all
just
your
sit and
points. Yeah, send us all your little.
just
Go ahead, go.
no. What I was saying is, you could take whatever and run with it. Make up your own story. It's just take it out there because I can write to a degree, but I can't
Mm-hmm.
then express it further to anyone else. It's weird. It's just how it
Okay.
sounds in my head when I put it on paper. So it's
Yeah,
an
that's
odd
fine.
transition for me.
That's
So,
fine. As many
but
notes as you can
no.
send us is fine. Yeah, send us as many
All right. So
notes as
I'll
you
try to
can.
make some. I'll try to find similar pictures too because
Okay.
I found some similar to the doll that might be a mix and match, and I'll make notes of
Mm-hmm.
those photos to understand how
Okay.
that doll looks.
Wow.
But
So we're gonna shut this live down here because I rather end it on a strong note. We really, really
yep.
wanna. We really appreciate Jose everything that you have done.
Thank you.
You are really, really awesome. Thank you for your time and thank you for your story. We gotta do this again in the future. But we're gonna let you go here because we're about to cut to the outro. And hopefully, when somebody watches this in the future, they're not like, okay, these people are crazy. But
Well, it's too late.
thank
I
you.
already am. So I'll own up to my part that I am. So.
Okay. Okay, brother. Great talking to you. I see you around. Okay, we love you.
Hey, have a good night, Puerto Rican Jose.
Okay.
Puerto Rican Showcase. Thank you so much for stopping by, brother.
You too. Many blessings.
I'm looking forward to the next time we're ready.
Thank you.
Alrighty, bye.
So
Cool. Let's see here. Well, hey guys, if you're watching this in the future, thank you for those who popped in and hanged it with us for a while, as long as they could. And we will be seeing you guys around next time. We hope that you have a good time watching this live. If you weren't here live with us, we want to thank everybody who was in here with us today in Stereo Dread, powered by Dezombified. This is our live. Go to our channel, check our stuff out, share, do all that good stuff. Subscribe, like, all of that. And thank you. Check out Puerto Rican Showcase on Twitter. He's very active on Twitter. He says that he has near future plans of doing something with his channel. We'd like to help out any way we can. Thank you guys for showing up. And hey, watch your 6.